Hello everyone. Hopefully it actually I saw it push out. I thought it would just like auto migrate people there. I guess I was wrong. Hello. I let's see here. I got this. Let's get the desktop music actually going. Little loud. Let's just pare that back. Okay, hopefully that's better. Okay, I gotta make it quieter for myself too. Oh, that'll help. All right, so I have the new changelog is not out yet. That's fine though. I did have I'm just checking my Discord DMs and all that stuff. There is I made the news flash essentially to dovetail out of the news program because there's going to be some new changes coming up that I've caught wind of that I can't talk about yet. I wasn't sure when they were going to be out. I can definitely fill for time until that stuff's out. But as you can see, when I go to refresh this is the most recent we have. But I did want to see if anyone had any questions. I did see Kurogamo asking about the particular patch note about staying on flying mounts. There was a YouTube video, actually, that was part of this, if I remember correctly. It was right here. Let's see. I think if I do this, nothing will blow up. Okay, it's muted. So this was the thing in question, I suppose. The poster Dark Tifa was not very happy with the fact that it's been going on for a long time. But you can see here that this player stays on their flying mount for a very good long time. Hopefully the window's small enough that I'm not you can't see. I mean, you can find it on the changelog. I mean, it's still there posted on the forums, but I don't want this person to get harassed. And you can see they are mounted at 45. Oh, okay, so for them, they were mounted for a very long time, but they were able to fly straight up, and then they can just kind of hover to wherever they want. My understanding was that because it wasn't on the changelog and it wasn't anywhere on the bug tracker, was that they were staying on longer than they should. But this is some of the shenanigans you can get up to. I mean, I feel like there's good parts and bad parts. Matt K 1812 about having the bug tracker be separate, or at least I know from a privacy point of view, it really helps the team keep everything self-hosted. I know that's something that they're trying to move towards. So I know that's one good part, at least for the team. But I like that you don't have to have two websites essentially. And while I do think there is value in having, as Kurogamo said, anonymity on the GitHub, you can make a Turtle Wow account for free. You can just make another one if you really need to be anonymous. So there is that. Yeah, Lizzie Babs, that's actually, I think, a fair criticism of the bug tracker. Actually, since we're talking about the bug tracker, we can stop watching. Let's see, how far do they go? Look at always slit this. That's ridiculous. I don't think those two things were necessarily connected, though. I think that was just what someone posted right after it. Let's see if I can... I'll navigate separately because I don't want to, again, dox myself. But the way you get to it is you go to turtlewow.org, which is their main website. You still have to sign in like normal. Sorry, I know it's on a bad spot. Can I do this without doxing myself? I don't think I can. That's a difficulty. I might have to set up a separate screen capture. Okay, I'm gonna see about setting this up. Just give me a second here. It's really not wanting to let me I have the screen capture set up. It just doesn't want to adjust its size. It's so annoying. Why do people use Streamlabs? I will at some point learn OBS, but that is not today. And I keep putting it off. Okay, I think it shouldn't go any bigger than that. You guys can just vibe out to the music. Okay. And it's not showing that. Okay, I think we're good. So this is the bug tracker. So you can see it's white with brown background. There are these tags. Some of them are pretty hard to see, I would say. I don't know if it's just simply it is concurrent with their current like art design, but I definitely understand people saying, "Hey, I'm having trouble seeing this." Yeah, this is actually almost all the music I use to stay out of copyright trouble is from Kevin MacLeod. If you see any of my videos, I always do the correct attribution. He makes a big variety of music and he puts it all up on Creative Commons. So all you have to do is just give credit and you won't get in trouble with the copyright police. You know, American Dingo, you're not wrong. That I mean, I literally use OBS currently as part of like my actual machinima like recording setup. Like when I record videos to use as assets, I actually use OBS. I need my buddy Sonic to guide me because I trust his guidance in these things. And I'm not super tech savvy, and I do struggle with some technological problems when I get them. But yeah, this is the new bug tracker. There's good and bad parts to it, I would say. Probably one thing that I, as someone who looks through them a lot, is the search is a little janky. So like if I search for what's something if I search for Kara, right? So I can search for Kara, and everything that had Kara on it is up here. But if I do close reports, and I try to search for Kara, it doesn't like eliminate everything right away. Whereas on GitHub, the searching, like I could just put in, hey, I just want closed reports. and then I search for Kara, and you see what it does. It brings open tickets again. So a lot of times I try to look for closed tickets because that shows that the devs have already done work on stuff. But this is some of the more fine-tuning things that I feel the team can get around to. So I'm not like super pressed about it. And Dragonovi, I'm glad to hear it. I know it was a pretty big undertaking, and I completely understand why the team is moving that direction. I will say part of me is happy that let's see if I can if my I wonder if I can search her name. No, I think I posted as Vrograg. So like these are some of these are like they did I get archive. So this is like old stuff from that I had posted before. So you can see Vrograg Fish Slayer. That was my actual GitHub name. But here, like, it actually is my character name, which is just Vrograg, and this is the one that I posted about. I'm a little curious, and I wanted to ask someone from the team, what is vote for fixing? Does anyone know? Does this do anything? If I vote, what will happen? Also, is it rude to vote for yourself? I voted for fixing. I've had some oh, I actually have another thing I'd like to show off as well. This I wanted to put this in the news, but I wasn't really sure where exactly I could put it. But it was some interesting information that I thought the public would appreciate. Let me see if I can actually I have to make this so people can read it a little better. This is something posted by oh, you guys are getting to see that I did a screenshot. Yes, we all know I did a screenshot. Okay, let's turn off screen capture for now. We'll keep it over here for right now. All right, let me get this this picture situated for you guys. So Acalix was nice enough to essentially post the rules for what the class council can and cannot say. So this kind of more discreetly says like the rules for players, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit, mostly because there's been a lot of contention about, you know, who's on class council, like what they can and can't say. And I thought it'd be good for the public to at least see it and be aware of kind of some of the stuff that the team is that the players have to go through. I wonder, will this? I wonder if I can just. Well, I might just do this on screen cap. Let's get rid of this again. There it is. So, this is something that I did get permission from Acalix to share. So you'll see that a lot of the stuff that I've said in the past is what is here, right? People can say that they are members of the Class Change Council. You can publicly disclose what you have suggested. So you'll notice a lot of times when I talk about the Class Council, I've talked about things that I have suggested, things that I have been promoting, but I can't talk about the identities of other members, the decisions, topics of the server. So like I can talk about things that I have brought up, but I can't talk about what has been a topic, if that makes any sense. And this is something that's very important. And this is something that I actually have to deal with, not just with community council stuff. And I don't know if this matters to many people, but abuse insider information for financial gain. This is something that like gets back to sort of journalistic ethics, which is something that's really important to me, because like I'll get insider information, like the big news announcement that should be out a little later today. If I were less ethical, I could definitely have done well with it. You could say that. But Aklix spells it out a little bit better here. Basically, don't be a jerk. If you decide to level a new class from knowledge out of the class council Discord, that's fine. If you decided to suddenly sell 5 million mongoose because you mysteriously figured out that it won't be useful for melee next update, that's more along the lines of abuse. So like, I mean, at times it's tempting, but like to be real, it's just not worth it. So, you know, I would, the reason I'm talking to the public about this though is that, if you see anyone abusing these rules, I think it's important to let, someone like myself or Aklix know. I'm not asking you guys to be narcs, but what I am saying is that if they don't follow these rules, it can be very harmful to the community. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about this new stuff Aklix has been teasing. In fact, let me just get rid of this for a second. I can show another thing, because this was posted publicly. Let me see if I can just reference it real quick here. So what everyone is, you know, may or may not know, I just did another screen grab. All right, and let's get back to the old screen cap. So this was grabbed from a public Discord channel on Turtle WoW. I'd love to see what some of you guys think. I'd love to see what some of the speculation is, but Aklix said in public, today we are nerfing gold farm while massively pumping the availability of herbs. So, I mean, now that that's public, I mean, the thing is how big is the massive pump of herbs, right? That's something that I think is still speculative. Also, what gold farm is being nerfed? Is it just one gold farm? Is it multiple gold farms? Is it just gold farming in relation to herbs, which can be another way of doing it? So I think some of that's up in the air. I think there's a lot of lasher farmers out there that are nervous, mostly because that's by and large been the most successful gold farm out there, or at least it's been like the most reliable. There's definitely other gold farms that are successful, but I know a very valid criticism of lasher farming is that most of the gold from lasher farming doesn't actually come from the herbs necessarily you get from lashers. And one way I can kind of show that is Grom's Blood and Dreamfoil. Let me get rid of this for a second. Oh, I forgot I have vanilla music on this little playlist I have. Alright, let's see if I can bring this up. Wow. Auctions.net. Turtle WoW, Nordinar. So let's look at the obvious one, right? Sorry, now you guys can see there it is. Okay, so here's Dreamfoil. Dreamfoil is one of the most readily attainable herbs because of lasher farming, and it's actually needed for quite a few things. I think they have all profits, professions. You can look at alchemy. I think this will... Well, this isn't a great format, but we look dream foil. Oh, do they not do... Oh, they do it by that. Okay, never mind. Greater Arcane Elixirs, though. They need 3 dream foil apiece. If we look for Supreme Power. Where's your drop down? Where's your drop down? Well, then you can see here, it needs 30 dream foil. Dream foil historically was needed quite a bit, but they've changed some of the recipes, but it's still needed for nature protection potions. Anyway, so it's not like raiders and people that need consumes don't need this, but you can see, like, the prices on this stuff. I mean, we wish all the herbs were worth this, right? You can see also here, if we do the supply count, this is... So this, on this axis, I believe, is the silver count. On this axis is how many are available. So, like, right here, or currently right now, which might be a little suspect that the count went down real quick, but the item count is under 1,000. It's not normally under 1,000. If we spread this out to last month, right, we have a lot more data, but, like, it regularly doesn't really dip under 1,000 very often. It gets close every now and then. Like, this is 1,012, so it's actually low, but you can see there's plenty that are available, right? So let's compare that to another frequently needed herb. Let's do ice cap, and the reason I'm doing ice cap is because it's pseudo instanced. So there are instances that have it, which is just Alterac Valley, but it's needed for a lot of stuff. It's needed for greater frost protection potions. It's needed for Donanzo's Telebim Delight, which is a spell damage food. And there's another... Oh, it's also needed for mana potions. So this is a month. And let's look at the supply here. You can see the supply, it gets down as far as low as 150. Now, at its highest, it gets pretty high up there, right? But the price of this stuff is pretty expensive. 1 gold 34. I mean, that's... Considering, I mean, you might not need dream foil amounts of it, but you do need a decent amount for frost protection potions, and certainly mana potions are part of the equation here. If we do major mana, all right, take a look at that. So you need 2 ice cap and 2 dream foil, and like, look at the price difference. Like, that's quite a big difference. Now, part of that's because dream foil is more readily obtained. Another part is that ice cap can proc black lotuses, which makes them more desirable to herb in the overworld or just in general. Dream foil can do it too, to be fair, but you know, I mean, that kind of differential. And if I went to, well, let me try this. See if I can bring this up. If I go to the Turtle WoW database. All right, and I want to look up ice cap. Okay. All right, so ice cap right here. It is a reagent 4. See, Donanzo's Telebim Delight. No one really cares about this, but it does exist. Distilled Wisdom, it's needed for that. Living Action Potions, less vital. But this was added because Ice Cap wasn't used in a lot. It was pretty much just used for Greater Frost Protection Potions, but they added it to a couple other things to make it more useful. But because of that, it's been super expensive. We can take a look at Plague Bloom, right? And that's useful for Mongoose and Mage Blood. These two, all right, the amount that you need for either one of these is, hold on, you need 2 for Mongoose and you need 2 for Mage Blood. So if we go over here and take a look at Plague Bloom, oh, Plague Blomo, averaging 3 gold. That's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That's it's been hovering around 2 gold to 3 gold. If we look at the supply side of things, at its low point, its lowest here, it got down to, wow, actually got down to 43 at one point. But yeah, the supply of it's really low compared to the other herbs. Like, it does jump up, don't get me wrong. Like, up here, it's over at 6,000. But you can see, like, even though, even when supply's low or when supply's high, this price point of, like, 3 gold is outrageous. So, I mean, herbs definitely need some tweaking. And I don't think... it's not heroic to say that. Like, I think most people who play in a PvE capacity have been aware of that for some time. So, when we have that note that massively pumping the availability of herbs, I mean, it's a welcome comfort. And on the other side, you know, we could talk a little bit about how Lashers affects inflation. Actually, you know, Acalix, if you were watching my news, you'd see that the bijou price has stabilized. It's been about 6. I can actually bring up, give me a second here. I actually just, I just had a thing for this. All right. All right, here's the, let's make that a little bigger. All right. So if I do the old screen capture, okay, here is the Zandalar index. Now this is as early as I've tracked it, and I weigh the coins at 1/3 weight and a bijou at 1. So essentially what this means is 1 unit on this index is what a Zandalarian honor mark is worth. And remember, like, that is what gets you 1 Zanza. So, I mean, it's had ups and downs, but it's mostly stabilized. I think a lot of this falling down right here was when Paladins realized that they could farm it. And that's what drove price down. So I would say out of all the things that increases or doesn't increase inflation, the bijous and coins have a tendency to not affect it as much because what you're trying to farm there is actually tokenized, and it's just worth what the market pays you. Whereas with Lasher farms, a majority of the gold you get from Lashers is actually not from the herbs. And actually, that was something I did want to bring up. Let me see. Let's try to get rid of it. I can show you guys some other research I've been doing on the side because I never stop doing research. I just love it so much. This is something that I haven't shared with a ton of people. Is it on this one? Nope, it's not that one. Sorry, trying not to dox myself again. Is it here? Nope. I really thought I had it on this one. Okay, maybe I don't have it here. I have a whole spreadsheet of like what I've gotten in Lasher runs just to show it off, and now I can't find it. Dang it. Oh, there's my class ratio spreadsheet. I will hide that forever until the time is ready. Until everyone's ready. Would it be on Market Watch? No? Ah, okay, here it is. I'm gonna make sure I don't show anything I shouldn't here. Alright, looks good. Okay. We'll try to decipher exactly what I put here. Okay. So this is, can I? Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Be careful now. Don't dox myself. All right, that should be enough. So here is this shows the different runs I've had. So this is one lockout, right? You have 5 runs before you get your dungeon lockout. This averaged me about 10 minutes a run. And this is the vendor value, right? These are all gray items. These are white, low auction house value items. And these are valuable white items. You can see some of the herbs that you would get from lashers are found here. This is just greens, not gear, so it's usually like recipes, a couple gems every now and then. And then this is some more breakdown, right? But if you look at what you actually get, up here is kind of where I wanted to focus your guys' attention to. Well, can you zoom in? No? View? Zoom? There it is. Okay. So right here, right? So on one run, you get 18 lasher root. All right, and you can do the math there. 18 times that, that's well over a gold. Other runs, you got 17, 16, 20, 13. So the average value you'd get just from vendoring these gray items, you can see here, I'd get about 6 gold just from grays. And over here, right, Heart of the Wild, this is something you get a lot in lasher farms. You can see like 17, 22, 25, right? And that's just under a gold. So essentially you're at 2, 4, 6, 7. A lot of these are pretty nominal. A lot of this stuff is kind of nothing. Then you have some value here because Dream Foil is valuable, Grom's Blood is valuable. Some of these other herbs are too. And this is with old market values. This is, I want to say this is from like October, maybe? This is old data, but you can still see just the raw gold value you get from that. This is for like getting the market value for the herbs if I were to do that. So in reality, the grays and whites usually get close to or maybe beat the herb value. And then over here, the other more nominal stuff doesn't really add up to much, right? So I at least wanted to show that to sort of demonstrate how, you know, it can be impactful what you get with lasher farms, because the majority of what you get is actually just straight up gold, and because of that, it actually adds to inflation. Does that make sense? I know I've been talking a lot. Let me try to catch up with what actually chat's been saying. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, geez, a lot. You guys have been chatting a lot. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you guys. I just went on a rant. Okay. Lockboxes and BRD. Yes, lockboxes are also pretty valuable. I think I had those as a different equation in my spreadsheet, but I know people that were really going hard on lashers, like probably right around the like before I did all the news orc stuff. One of my best ways of making gold was just doing bulk unlocking of mithril lockboxes from Dire Maul East lasher runs. I wouldn't even be doing the runs. I would just get paid like a bulk amount of gold to do X amount of lockboxes. Like, I had a good thing going for a long time, but I've moved away from that just because I got busy with other things, and like my mailbox kept getting full. So lashers make up 12% of the raw gold generated on the entire network. Aclix, when you say network, are you including SEA servers and Telebim, or is that just Nordinar? Because when you say entire network, I'm led to believe it's more. Lasher farming was not as profitable in Classic. Matt K 1812, I would push back against that. It was not as profitable in Classic as it currently is in Turtle. There's a couple things there to unpack. First, that's true because bodying in RMT was more condoned, essentially. So that made inflation worse. So it wasn't as profitable because gold was worth less. But we're still facing those issues of inflation. I've never seen I never seem to find any thorium anywhere. It used to be named for pots. If they nerf gold farms, raiding consumes are going to be impossible. Well, that's the idea, right, Gildark? Is that sorry, I'll bring this up again. It's supposed to be a 1-2 punch. They're nerfing gold farms while making herbs way more available because, to be perfectly honest, that's where a majority of people spend their gold on. Like, it's for flasks, it's for consumables. The stuff that you pay money for outside of that generally tends to be fishing for stone scale eel. If you're like melee and you need some stone scale oil, or if you're a fire mage, you might need some fire oil. But most of it comes from herbalists. Poyu says, replace the raw gold earned from lashers into herb equivalent in value and adjust it as needed in the future. 2 birds with 1 stone. That's not even that bad of an idea. Let me do something here, because it would be interesting to see at least what the lashers themselves drop. I have to remember which lasher. NPCs. Location, we want the ones in Dire Mall. You don't want these ones. These ones are the ones that will kill you. I think it's Whiplasher. Let me see. Yeah, Heart of the Wild at 45%. Raw black truff. So these are the ones. So, if you look at... so this is like drop rate, right? Right. Oh, you guys can't really see that. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so you can see here, this is like the drop rate. And a lot of some herbs like Fade Leaf are needed. Drops at 1.8. Grom's Blood, Dreamfoil, 1.74. Blindweed, 1.72. Fire Bloom, 1.7. Swift Thistle, to a certain extent, is desired, but its market's not as rich. But this is scaled in what's most likely to drop. So what Poyu is suggesting is like, hey, take out raw black truffle. Heart of the Wild is another story. I'll just I'll get into why I don't want that to get nerfed personally. It's right here. As an elemental shaman, I really like having the 3 Heart of the Wild I need per one of these not be outrageously expensive. So this is one of the only places Heart of the Wild is actually needed, but it is needed for a couple other things. This specific one, I think this is... Oh, which one is this Telebim? I don't remember what this one does. It's not the spell damage. This one might be the ranged attack one. I could be wrong. Anyway, it is still needed, but not nearly as much as the other ones. I digress. But yeah, you could take Lasher Roots and Thorny Vines. These are the two that and Serrated Petals. These are the 3 that make the most gold exist. If you put like herbs, even at 10, 7, and 3%, you could put something like, if I was trying to balance it, I would still have to bring these down if I'm being honest. Like maybe like 3, 3, and 3, and you could have your Plague Bloom, Mountain Silver Sage, and Ice Cap maybe. It is funny. You'll get Peace Bloom when killing these guys, and you're like, what am I gonna do with this? But I think that's a good idea. Hopefully, there's a dev listening who might see fit, because if they are going to inflate the amount of available herbs, then it's not really gonna hurt or affect gold because, like I established before, the harm in lasher farming is from making there just be existing more gold, and when there's more gold, it makes other people's gold worth less. And that's like the very, very rudimentary thought around inflation, right? So I don't think it's a bad idea. All right, let me get back to Arcane crystal and fish price. Actually, sorry I never answered this. Just give me a second. I can actually also... I showed you guys the Zandalar index. Let me show you guys the other one. The other one. Oh, it's on my desktop. There it is. I need the web interface. Oh, we don't need that. Okay, so here we have my my handy dandy little graphic maker. So we had a question asked about. I gotta find Aklux's comment again. Arcane crystal and fish price. So, I think I'll just do that by item then, right? So we gotta find stone scale. We'll get stone scale. We'll get raw knife and snapper in there too. That's another valuable one. I have images already for Firefin, and then I'll show off. I'll do. You know what? I'm gonna do this because this will actually be pretty interesting. Arcane crystal. All right. Because I've been tracking these for quite a long time. So I can actually take this all the way back to, I figure... I can't remember when I started doing stone scale. I think I at least had it in July. So let's go ahead and just do it on the month date. All right. Nope, not that. We'll get rid of this. Just give me just a second to get up those images. All right, and we will go with a screen capture. Yeah, don't worry about this in the background. That's the script that makes it. So this is Arcane Crystal, starting back in July 19th. Honestly, Arcane Crystal has been, it was on the rise for a long time before this. I could even go further back in the dates for Arcane Crystal specifically, but yeah, this is it went up right around the before. This is like right around Emerald Sanctum, this huge spike. But it has been since, historically, this is about where we were at in like May, I'd say. So that's Arcane Crystal. And then Stone Scale is right here. Now, Stone Scale right here, people might be asking, hey, what happened? The developers changed something about how the pools spawned in the overworld, so that rather than spawning every couple minutes, they spawned like every half an hour. So focus fishing stone scale eel just didn't work anymore, and that led to big scarcity. For the longest time, it never even approached, this is in silver by the way, so it never ever approached 1 gold. It always stayed well under it. And it fluctuated above 40 and below 60. It did this for like as long as I had been keeping records. I just thought I'd show that off. Hopefully that answers your question though, Akalix. And also to another extent, I also hope that there's some level of fishing. I mean, I know I'm Vrograg Fish Slayer, obviously I'm going to be biased towards fish, but hopefully fishing gets a little bit more... I wouldn't even say, like, it's not that we don't have the fish that we need. It's just, it takes a lot longer to get the fish needed that the server needs. So that's why there's been such a price premium on it. Sorry, let's see. I'm catching back up. Oh, geez. How long have you been in the Discord call? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Alex. Crap. I mean, in my defense, I was completely muted.
So, I can't hear you.
Oh. You can't hear me? Okay, hold on. I can fix that.
I've been listening on the stream this whole time. I can't hear you on here.
Oh, you know why? That should fix
now.
it. Sorry about that. I left my Discord on push to talk, like any proper, polite person would.
That's reasonable. I've been here. If you scroll back up in your chat, Akalix said, Rogreg, look in your Discord call.
Yes.
I've been here about a minute before that.
Okay. There's no timestamps for me. I have no idea when you were here. I apologize.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, I was on one. I was on one, man. I mean, I'm talking about the economy. I'm all fired up.
You do get energized about that. And honestly, remembering I'm going to say debauchery around arcane crystals.
Oh my goodness.
That brought back some memories.
That was wild when it happened. Like, I couldn't even I was close with some of the people that hold on there. I was close with some of the people that were like trying to take advantage of that particular situation. And they're like, "Oh man, we're gonna make a killing on arcane crystals," and I'm like, "Oh man, that's nuts." I saw the price go up, and then one of the few places where developer intervention stemmed the tide, and we ever since then it's been much more mellow.
I was very grumpy about that because at the time before that happened, I had like a backstock of arcane crystals that I had purchased because I generally try to snipe when prices are unreasonably low.
Yeah.
And then I saw the price spike and I got really, really, really excited. And I didn't sell at the time that it spiked. And I missed the opportunity entirely.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading here. Right after Akalix said, Vrograg, look at your Discord call. Akalix then said the Lasher fix got reverted. Was that a reference to when they were initially going to change it and then got cold feet? Huh.
That's a good question.
Because I mean, this was like back in August. I was doing the news and I was talking to Akalix. I remember there was a point in time where they were considering it or were about to pull the trigger on it. And a lot of people were like, hey, not only is the values on the lashers actually the vanilla values, but it's also, we have no way to make money and the herbs are just getting more expensive. So we need like a two-pronged approach. So I think that might be a little bit an answer to what's going on now. How you been, Dan? How you been?
It has been a busy last, I'm going to say like week and a half.
Well, you got PAX East coming up, don't you?
Yeah, so I've been trying to rush and take care of everything I need to in the run up to it. So I got my business cards ordered. I've been doing a little extra on the jobs front to try and make sure nothing is going to light on fire while I'm mostly just in convention mode. None of you really know me that well, and that's fine. Generally speaking, when it comes to conventions, I stop doing everything else and I just focus on people. So I like, for all the radio folks, I'm going to be out of commission for like 4.5 days. And I feel bad about that, but also I planned ahead.
I mean, that sounds good. Who doesn't like planning ahead? You know, except that just means that you're just one big old ball of anxiety.
You're talking about most of humanity right now.
Big ball of anxiety? Nah, dude, not me. Not me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I get all of my anxiety out by talking. It's easy. Anyone could do it.
But otherwise, I'm actually like really good right now. I feel prepared. My last load of laundry is gonna hit the dryer here probably in the next, half hour. Dinner is sorted. I have all of my party invites and all of my passes ready to go. Dinners are scheduled, and I'm just like, I'm ready to hit that con energy.
I feel you. So, are you are you going there in any official capacity for anything, or are you just there to hang out with the homies?
I mean, every convention I go to is a business convention in some capacity. At least 2 of my jobs have different meetings during PAX this year, but this is my least scheduled convention in a very long time, probably ever. This is a lot of me actually just getting to sit and talk with folks, which is nice. I'm looking forward to that. But like I said on my show, if anyone is coming out to PAX East, anyone wants to, say hi, my Discord DMs are open. I love meeting people. I am one of those unfortunate, somewhat energized extroverts where I like meeting people. Not as energized as some people, but still.
So I mean, that's good to hear. I mean, there's a lot of people in the community that, for one reason or another, like keeping stuff on the DL. I've often considered like being more public facing, but I will say that is one of those places where I actually get anxious, just because. I mean, I've heard horror stories about, people getting like death threats or, swatted. I mean, I'm certainly not like really even at that level of like a internet personality anyway, but it's just, I don't know how very popular internet personalities deal with that. I don't think I could.
I personally have never hit that true peak of internet celebrity. I've been C-list at the very best throughout my careers, as many of them as there have been. But I also take full advantage of good fucking luck finding Dan in Boston. Good try. I mean, go for it. I don't think you're gonna.
So, one thing I put out there on the news, something I'm seeing some people talk about in chat. I'd love to get your opinion on it or your feelings. What do you think about Acalix making public that the math on weapon skill and the impact of races? How do you feel about that?
So
that seems like it's gonna change.
I did watch your video that you premiered at 4 p.m. here at youtube.com/@VrogueRagFishSlayer.
You love to hear it.
Good job.
I didn't break anything.
No, you didn't. Normally I tell people not to do premieres, but at the same time you were active in chatting with people, so it's like, okay, no, it's pretty good job. So the hit change. I am almost every time anyone has changed how hit functions, whether it's okay, we're changing it to a rating system in TBC and Wrath, and then it breaks down even further with expertise at one point. It's always been for the not so good, in my opinion. I'm interested to see how this works. I am naturally very skeptical of changes like this. However, to say that it's not needed for vanilla in some capacity to really stop melee classes from being focused on humans, orcs, and now goblins. That's really good. That's good that they're considering this and changing it. I am nervous. Hit rating and how, no, I shouldn't say hit rating, but hit and how it functions in vanilla is kind of one of those sacred temples that everyone wants to change but doesn't know how to in a reasonable capacity. So I'm nervous. Overall, I'm nervous.
I am also nervous, and I am aware of some things, but it's not in a situation where I'm like, oh, nefarious laughter. I know really what's going to be happening. It's not one of those situations. It's definitely it's definitely a situation where I just trust the people that know a bunch about this stuff, because I just don't. I mean, I know enough to have been a competent melee DPS in raid scenarios, but it is very difficult to, because you want to honor the fantasy of certain races having a good backing with certain weaponry, right? As part of their ancestral heritage, right? And that's, I definitely get that. But I've seen it discussed in other places, and one thing that I always feel is a good point to bring up about the weapon skill situation is that, hey, this is largely meant to be a mechanic for leveling, and its consequence on the game in raid scenarios far outstrips what I think most people agree was the design. Because weapon skill and glancing blows is literally by design documents of the original creators, the founding fathers, was meant to encourage players to not go melee something that's 5 levels above them. But you can get away with it a little bit if you have some weapon skill. I mean, and then at the top level, it makes such a haves and haves not kind of situation where you either have 5 weapon skill and swords or you don't, So what I'm curious about, though, is in that same message we got from Acalix, although it's sort of trying to read the runes, what was really meant here in that one message is that hey, so what was meant by all that? What does that mean for players? And I think you're right to be anxious, because you can definitely get that wrong. And so here we have that one quote there: reduce dependence on race, change hit math.
So here's kind of where I'm sitting at with it. And I'm going to split this into 2 sections here. The first thing is me personally, what I want for myself and my characters. It is well known that I have a Goblin warrior that I absolutely pump on. I love that dude. He's kind of my main right now.
And goblins get dagger, I believe.
Dagger and one-handed mace. So that's literally what I'm using. I have the AQ-20 mace, the big one, and I have in my offhand the dagger off of Hakar. I do have the crit dagger out of Ubers. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it.
Fellstriker?
Fellstriker. I do have Fellstriker. Fellstriker is actually a DPS decrease compared to the dagger out of ZG off of Hakar, which was mind-blowing for me, but I have so much crit on my Goblin, I can't utilize it correctly. So, anyway, that's kind of where my weapons are at right now. With 2 pieces of tower, and a spread of other molten core grade gear, I'm doing like 425, 430 DPS in raid regularly, consistently.
Yeah.
If I lose that weapon skill, that's going to drop by about 90 or so.
So I mean, and again, like I'm definitely reading a lot into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the quote is reduced dependence on race changed hit math. So let's actually unpack that. So the dependence on race, right? To do good DPS, you need a certain level of weapon skill, right? Or at least to keep up with the Joneses, as you might say. Changed hit math. So maybe, and again, this is just speculation off this one quote. Maybe this means that the racial weapon bonuses won't be as impactful as they previously were. Now, like, that isn't nerfing your goblin. That is allowing other races to compete more easily.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that statement. And if it means what I think it means, this is actually going to be a really good change. And I need to step away here in a minute or two, so I'm going to finish up with the second thought I had.
Okay.
This is how I want this to pan out based on what Akalix said. I want this to be a situation where more races get more weapon skills. However, overall, the impact that all of those weapon skills have is reduced. So, I mean, let's say Goblin gets to keep one-handed mace and dagger. Dwarf gets, the Mountain King style of weapon where it's one-handed axe, one-handed mace, and they get that weapon skill. Let's say Tauren finally get the weapon skill they deserve and get two-handed mace, totem, and let's say rifle. I think rifle is a little ridiculous for Tauren, but that's just me. But it's kind of baked into World of Warcraft at this point that Tauren know how to handle firearms for some reason. I would want to see more races have more access to more weapon skills, but like Akalix said in his post, have that impact reduced. Turn it down just a little bit. I don't know if that's what we're actually going to get. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen. But in Dan's happy, perfect world, that's what would happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that does make sense, and it's really hard to balance a game this old and with the design that's already there. But it sounds like that would be the most egalitarian approach. Well, you're not trying to deny races some things that make them specifically them, and still have strengths and weaknesses. You don't want to homogenize the races and make it purely a aesthetic choice or a role-playing choice. You also want that to be a reflection of the character you want to play. And I will admit, if you are really into, like a Tauren warrior, right? It's crazy to me that like you just flat out do 20% less white damage because you're a Tauren. And
which, especially for warriors in particular, that 20% less white damage leads to, the math isn't exact, but just estimating 20% less rage, which means 20% less abilities you're going to be able to use to deal yellow damage, which skips some of that hit requirement.
Yeah, and it's there's a lot of like strange traditions with it. Like I remember when my rogue, when a Maladath dropped, right? And I played an orc rogue. Everyone's like, either a human warrior gets it, or a non-human rogue gets it, and like that was just like the law.
No, that absolutely is, yeah.
Because a human rogue would put them over the amount of skill they need, because rogues get weapon skill from talents. That's a whole nother can of worms, but yeah, like, I mean, when you said like it's a sacred cow, like, yeah, like some of these things are like deeply steeped in the mind of a vanilla player, you know?
We vanilla players have our traditions and the things that we hold on to so dear. None of them are always right. Some of them are very wrong sometimes, but as I mentioned on a previous episode of my show, we are a very independent and very opinionated group, and we will die on our hill happily and eagerly.
You know, I didn't believe it until I started talking to more shamans openly. And boy, let me tell you, yes. Yes.
Side note, something I noticed during your video, you had a perspective, a camera perspective over the top of the Thunder Bluff auction house.
Yes.
During it at one point. I was watching your video and I'm like, wait a second. Wait a goddamn second. I paused the video. You actually captured one of my random secret alts.
No way.
While I was at
really?
the auction house on him, a hunter.
Oh man, yeah, see, this is actually, I was in during the premiere, I was actually saying in chat, I'm like, oh no, because normally I try to put like about like an 80% transparency on the graph so you can see what's going on in the background. I'm like, oh, I forgot this week, and man, so that one of your secret alts was captured.
I have two Tauren alts that I play on and off, just on the side. They're not in a guild or anything. They're not like, I really don't do stuff, you know, with like friends with them. They're just, I am a regular player on the server doing my regular thing. I have no privilege. I have no excessive access of anything. I'm me. I'm doing my thing. And that was just funny because I had just bought a staff to put on him. It was like a baby little, like 5 agility, 4 stamina staff. And I'm like, I recognize that stick and those shoulders. Oh my God.
Yes. The eye in the sky captures everything, really. And I'll always appreciate the fact that the Turtle WoW team let me have a GM media account just so I can get cool angles and shots. It's been really fun to do, and it's I guess you can call it cinematography, but it's opened up the cinematography of WoW a lot creative. Like,
it is absolutely cinematography. It's so cool.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's probably the most creative, one of the most creative parts of like just making these little derpy news videos. It's just like, oh man, like, oh, today I'm gonna go to like Darkshore, and man, it would be so cool like if I flew into that area with the dragon, you know, and like just have that be part of the opening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you said, wait a second. If you're going to be gone all weekend, what's going to happen on Friday? Are we going to have Living in the Past?
I said it on the last couple of episodes, no show this weekend.
Okay.
No show this weekend. I'm just taking a quick week off. But we'll be back next week. And then, of course, you, me, and Akalix need to prepare for the next podcast.
Yes.
For the month of April here.
Yes, we do. I'm excited for April, just because I have so many fun ideas of what I want to do for my April Fool's Day news, but also largely like I think the podcast got off to a good start. We had a lot of good feedback, and I'm looking forward to like just recording more, especially when I get to be more hands-off on the post-production stuff. It's nice just to be like, hey, Vrograg, just go say something. I'm like, oh, I know how to say stuff.
I would like you to talk, preferably into the microphone, if you could, please.
Yes, I can definitely manage that. At the very least, I can manage that. And another fun radio thing, too, I think it's live. I don't know for sure, because I heard the final version from the team, like where the repository is, but Murag also recorded a what was that?
The update for the bug tracker.
Yes, yeah. She
That's
recorded that.
been live for a few days. That was live at the beginning of the week. I uploaded that to the radio server like early Monday.
Well, there you go. So yeah, that's great. Also because like, it's nice because Murog's one of those one of those theater kids, and they just flourish when you let them do stuff like that.
No, they did a good job. They did a real good job. Volga and Murog did a bang up job with that report.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the production quality, and also we had that meeting too. That was really great to get to meet some of the other people and like get to actually talk a little bit rather than just being a name in some chat.
I would like to do that again this summer because, and I don't mind saying this publicly, as I mentioned at the meeting, we are going to be focusing on seasonal events this year.
Yes.
So obviously the Fire Festival going to be a big one I want to do. But then, of course, spooky season. Everybody loves spooky season. We love spooky season.
Spooky season's the best.
There's going to be a lot of people on the server doing spooky stuff on spooky season. So expect a big production push for September and October this year.
Oh man, I can't wait. I mean,
there's gonna be tons of work for everyone to do. It's gonna be good times.
I should put in now for the bug of the Burning Man Ash didn't give the buff last year.
Oh no!
Do you know the buff I'm talking about, right? It's
It's
like a pseudo world buff, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's great. But I remember I like, oh, when's it gonna happen? I watched the ceremony. I'm like, all right, let's go grab that buff, and then it didn't work, and I'm like, aw. It's like Forsaken's time to shine, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's I mean, I'm excited for more radio content stuff. I'm very excited to see what all the buzz is about this particular change with herb availability is going. I mean, you raid some too, don't you, Dan?
I used to raid a lot more. Not so much lately.
I mean, what if I told you like Mage Blood was 7 gold, just one?
I would not believe you. But I did see you specifically, and I need to actually step away here at this point. But I did see you talking about Swift Thistle. Language words. Swift Thistle prices are directly reflective of how active Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin are on a server.
I never thought of that angle.
What's that?
I never thought of that angle. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's because of the speed potions.
There's something else Swift Thistle is used in nowadays too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, the because you need the speed potions, right? And the speed potions reagent for. So I'm just showing this on swiftness potions, and then that is a reagent for. There's like a potion of haste they have now.
Oh, okay.
And I think you need the swiftness potion for that. I don't think they have it up here, or I'm just forgetting the
what
name
time
of it.
it is.
Oh, buddy.
Well. Is it that time, Akalix? Are we gonna? Oh boy.
Check the forms, my friend.
Thank you, Dragonovi. All right, here it is, everyone.
I'm gonna continue. I'll be back. I'll be back.
I'll be here, probably. All right, let's see what Akalix has cooked up for us. Okay. This is a picture of a Arthas tier. Akalix, what did you take a picture of here? Did you take this picture?
I did not take that picture.
Okay. Actually, you were coming in a little quiet for me.
I told people to get pictures of flowers, and I mean, you saw 2 of the responses I got.
I did. All right. You can no longer enter battlegrounds while you are in combat if PvP flagged to prevent abusing battleground queues to escape fights with other players unharmed.
There's another thread, by the way.
There's another thread. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, would you suggest that I look at that
I would
one
say
first?
the other thread is a little bit more impactful.
Okay, let's go to the forums. This would be under announcements, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. Economy Update Part 2. Here it is. Okay, here's the meat and potatoes, everyone. Also, Dragonovi, was it Plague Bloom? I thought it was more purple than that. You could be right, though. Today, we have launched the long-awaited Part 2 of our original Economy Update. If everyone remembers that that came out a while ago. Our beta... So, some of these changes are beta systems. This means that they may vastly change within the coming week if needed. These changes are being made in an effort to improve the overall economy and player experience in the network. So I do want to ask before continuing, when you say network, are you referring to the entirety of all Turtle WoW servers?
Primarily Nordinar, but that's primarily because Nordinar's been around for by far the longest, so it's experiencing things that other realms may not be yet experiencing, but will be.
Do you know if the SEA servers would be getting these changes as well?
I believe they will be, yeah.
Okay. Dynamic herbalism and mining notes. Okay, I've heard some people theorize about this. The price of raiding consumables has remained unsustainably and unreasonably high. Very bold statement. I can't believe you said that. We have moved our herbalism and mining nodes onto a dynamic respawning system. This system should allow for more players to gather more resources in the wild, allowing both lower prices on the auction house and easier access to those who would prefer to independently gather their own goods. All right, resource nodes, yeah, well, that makes sense inside instances. Dynamic fishing pools. Fishing? Fishing? Oh my goodness. More fishing. Our fishing friends have been struggling with supply. All the same reasoning and actions above have played. High-tier fishing pools have been moved onto a dynamic respawning system. Resource nodes found inside instances are exempt from the system. Are there fishing pools inside instances? There might be that I'm not remembering.
Yes.
There are?
Or at least they might not be pools, but I know that they you can fish in some instances.
Well, yeah,
I believe
know you can
ZG
fish
has
in
pools.
Oh, ZG pools. Good point, Dragonovi. Exactly. Okay, there are. That's a very good point. Although, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to look. What is the price of mud skunk? This is one that I didn't even think of in my various. That's actually I should start tracking mud skunk if I'm being honest. Okay, it's dirt cheap. All right. Zul'Gurub trash. Okay, I know some people have been talking about some farms getting nerfed. The soloing Zul'Gurub trash. This has led to a large influx of raw gold among other issues in the market. To address this problem, the majority of creatures found in Zul'Gurub are now immune to roots and slowing effects. This excludes Mad Servants, Speakers, Soul Flares, and Son of the Car. Thank you, because otherwise, some encounters would be absolute cancer. Zulian Crocolisk can now cast Pierce First, they went for the mages, and you said nothing. Then they went for the paladins. Look at that. So this is pretty squarely pointed at the paladins that have been croc farming.
Yeah, the charge and that were both targeted towards rebalancing it so that paladins are not able to do that.
Some players may be concerned that the prices of bijous and thus Zanza consumables will be raised by this to change that. Yes, the prices to these change will likely increase some. However, these will likely still be farmable by groups and very easily obtained by geared players simply by attending Zul'Gurub raids. And that's true. And I will say that, let's say you have a raid, a 4-hour slot, you need 2 Zanzas. You know, it's still, it should cost less now that Zanzas fall off much less I mean, as long as the debuff cap thing got fixed, because I know Zanzas and Flasks were getting annihilated. All right, here's the big one. Oh, well, you know, did you Akazano, did you catch that I had that spreadsheet up showing what I was able to get on a Lasher run?
I saw that you brought it up, but I wasn't closely paying attention.
Yeah, let me I want to pull that up for some comparison, just to show people right now what the actual impact is. Of course I gotta find it. Nope, it's not on. I have so many Google accounts, dude. It's a problem.
Yeah, there was one thing that I wanted to make very clear in it is I know, and I put it in there before anyone could even say it. I know people are going to say, you're trying to lower consumables costs. Why are you increasing Zanza cost? And that is a blatant point of just play the game. Yeah, it's going to probably increase, maybe double the price of Bijous. I don't think it'll go much further than that, but it's going to make it so that Bijous are more expensive, yes, but that just further incentivizes people who are geared players to go do old content. If you want to get some of the consumable from Karazhan, go do Karazhan. If you want to get some of the consumable from Zul'Gurub, go do Zul'Gurub. It's a matter of, yes, this one's going to probably go up some, but A, it's a long-lasting one, so having to spend 5 more gold on it is not too bad, and B, it's a matter of this sort of consumable. That sort of farm cannot be allowed because it would I was very closely monitoring this, and I was watching some people hit like a disturbing golden amount in their inventory from doing it.
I have returned, and I want to bring up another point on this. Also, Akalix, good day. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully the patch hasn't caused too many pitchforks and torches to pop up. We'll see. Perhaps. There are quite a few people on the server that have, I'm going to say, small vaults, like Scrooge McDuck gold vaults full of Bijous. People have backstocked this commodity heavily, and that's one reason the market has been so disgustingly stable with the price. So
this is something I know I've brought up. I brought up about herbs specifically, where yes, I feel like stockpiling has been an issue, where groups will just stockpile what they have rather than enter them into the marketplace. But Bijous, I know that's also certainly a thing that happens as well. Bijous and coins, you can just get so many of them because they were so readily farmed. If the market goes up, people that have been diamond handsing their Bijous and coins, they could certainly make a profit now. I'll be interested to see how the Zanza market changes after this. But I was
I don't think we're going to see as much change as some people may be expecting. I think the price is going to stay relatively stable. I could be wrong. Rograg, please prove me wrong.
I did want to show off that the old values for Serrated Petal, 61 silver, Thorny Vine, 30 silver, Lash Root, 17. Let's remember those numbers. We're going to go back to the economy update. I can't remember those numbers, but Lash Root, Thorny Vine, and Serrated sell for 8, 10, and 12. Again, we'll look at this. So if that's going from 61 to 12, that's going from 30 to 8, and then to 10. Either way, that's a massive nerf to how much raw gold you would get from Dire Maul East. Whip Lasher's drop chance for Golden Sandsam, Arthur Steel, Swift Thistle, Dream Foil, Fire Bloom, Bromswood, and Sungraph have been increased to okay, so interesting. So the Lashers, to make up for their lack of gold they'll give, will be dropping more of the herbs that they already dropped. Aclix, where was oh wait a minute, hold on, I want to finish the statement. In addition to this, whiplashers now have 4% chance in mountain civilization. Oh wow, wee zowie. So lashers can drop the 3 arguably most contentious herbs. Whoa. That's I mean, some of the stuff that you had told me before, I was already really interested in the announcement. When was this change? Who thought of that one? I mean, I know a lot of people have mentioned that it might be a good idea, but I'm curious. Was this something that you had heard that you had pushed for? Was it someone from the team, or was it just a community voice that you're like, you know, this idea isn't bad? And why was it 4%? I'd love to hear some of the thinking behind the process here.
So the process on this is that we wanted to make it, and there was a lot of internalized discussion about like how do we want to actually handle lashers eventually, and I know that like those 4% I believe come from Dragonovi. I believe that he was the one who pushed for that idea to be added. Where basically we wanted to make it so that if you're farming lashers, it's because you're not an herbalist, but you want to farm the herbs.
And you're a class that can farm the lashers.
Yeah.
But I mean, many classes can. There are some that struggle without gear, or some just simply can't. But that's besides the point.
Discovering that my priest could farm lashers, but my warrior couldn't, was very devastating to my ego.
Just so everyone can see here too, I'm showing this is currently what they drop and the rate they drop them at. So if you've ever done lashers, this 7% Thorny Vine, granted it's a 1 to 2 drop, but that'll roughly tell you how much these other big herbs are going to be dropping. I'm sorry, it's 4%. Oh no, sorry. The other ones are getting up to 4%, and then these ones are getting 4% as well. So I wonder if there's a good comparison here. Serrated Petal's probably a good one. That's one when you see it, you're like, oh, I made a little extra cash. Serrated Petal was the most expensive gray. So usually when you saw a Serrated Petal, you're like, I'm in the money. And you could see too, like on this spreadsheet I had prepared a long time ago, Serrated Petals alone would average me about 2 gold every run. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest, that from doing lasher runs, I would use that gold to then buy the herbs that I would need. So I think honestly that's sort of the thought that's behind this. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Aclix, but I feel like that's a lot of what's going on here.
Yeah, basically it's meant to... So, a very big problem on the server, and older players will notice this a lot, is the gradual devaluation of the gold.
Yeah.
Over time, over the years, since I started playing, I can notice it. 1 gold is worth less and less. And this is a big suspect as to... Or, not a big suspect. A big contributor as to why. And I think it says there in the thread, a little above that, 12% of all the raw gold originates from that instance, primarily from those 3 grays.
Yeah, those grays are certainly a big cash cow.
Yeah, so it's basically to make sure that there's still value there, but at the same time, change that value into value that's getting used and going to move through the economy, not value that will permanently be... Basically not trying to print money there.
Yeah, I could show this off again. This is pretty much as long as I've been tracking Black Lotus. I showed this off on the news broadcast. This is pretty much where we are to date. Now, I know Black Lotus is is not. It's a little bit of an apples to orange because we have a specific thing on the server. This was done a long time ago, if I remember correctly, like early 2023, maybe late 2022, where they changed it so that high-level herbs, so Dream Foil and up, have a chance to drop Black Lotus. But still, you can see that, like, the interest in this has gone up. Now, Black Lotus didn't suddenly become harder to get. It's generally been about as hard to get the whole time. So as more players have been here, the demand has gone up, but the supply has remained the same. Do you know if there's going to be... is the team willing to look at Black Lotus potentially?
Black Lotus, it could be added as a very rare drop there, but probably don't want to add it too heavily into just the drops from Lashers. For Black Lotus specifically, our goal is to have it be more accessible via, like, the herbs themselves being more accessible, which should be the other outcome of this update where the dynamic respawns are going to be put in.
And you finish this notice off with Blasted Land quest consumables. Now, this is something that has already been tweaked before, but what was tweaked before was how readily the mobs that have these things will respawn. So this is now giving them an 80% chance to drop the quest items that many players want to grab, because they give the really strong Blasted Land buffs. So let's just take a look at...
It's 30 and 40% currently.
Okay. Yeah, let's... so if I do like... Oh, why did you do Basilisk? Is that how you spell Basilisk? That's not how you spell Basilisk. It is how you spell Basilisk. So yeah, you can see right here currently... I'll scroll down. Aklex's thing is so big. I'm trying to show the people.
Put him above your head.
Oh yeah, good call, good call.
As he always is, floating about us, seeing everything.
Threatening. There it is. Oh, it's a group. I wonder if I could change the scale of all of them. Yay! All right, I'll put that there. So yeah, they are 40 and 30%. So it's just changing them all to 80. That's great because I have a elemental shaman. We're always behind the curve on DPS. You need to get as many consumables as you possibly can to make your raid slot. Not feel like a drag to others, even though every melee will be like, no bro, it's cool, you have Wind Fury, don't worry about it. You still want to pull your own weight, right? So I will always go and try to get the, what's it called?
Gentlemen, great news as to what message I just got.
Oh? There's
Don't
more
post
news.
yet, by the way.
What? Oh, it's not posted?
No, I got told not to post yet, after it was already posted.
Not to post the patch notes yet.
Oh well.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
I mean,
I just opened. Yeah, I said terrible news on that one. Yeah, I just opened post.
I mean, we're just gonna throw that up.
It's fine though. It's just a matter of there are minor things that we're fixing still. Like, actually, if you open,
I'm already a step ahead of you. I'm already on the changelog.
You open the refresh the economy one. We quickly hotfixed in Atall Eye Mistresses and Withered Mistresses to the slow root immune, because Jindo would have been pretty difficult without that.
I'm sorry. What else was changed? Oh boy.
Oh, thank God.
I must have missed something here. Sorry, no, there it is. I'm getting that back up again.
So in the change to ZG mobs.
Yeah.
There are some mobs that maybe might make life really difficult if you can't do something to them to stop them from supercharging people.
Yes. Oh, right.
Specifically,
Oh, yeah. The ones you have to gather on the wall for. I thought that was the champions, wasn't it?
Jindo's mobs, the
Yeah.
Adeline mistresses.
Oh, I thought they were named champions. Yeah, I don't honestly remember. I've been doing ZG for so long that it just all blends together in one big old ZG party.
Speaking of ZG, I might be letting a trick out of the bag here, but as someone who played a Shadow Priest for so long, I'm shocked more people aren't going in like a 2 or 3 man team with Shadow Priests and using those blood dudes to just farm the whole place.
Well, it's really difficult, as I understand it. I think there is. I could be wrong. I thought there was diminishing returns even on PvE mobs with mind control.
Nope.
I could be wrong. No, there
Not
isn't.
that I know of.
Then if that's not the reason why, I would assume just because it's a hassle to to corral them. But I guess if you have a team of priests,
it's not. So here's the thing. The only risk with a lot of those mobs, especially up where Mandokir is at, is there are mobs that charge and do a knockback.
Okay.
If you as a Shadow Priest get hit by that, you're knocked out of your mind control,
Yeah,
obviously.
if you get hit by anything,
and then
right?
What's that?
If you get hit by anything, that knocks you out of mind control.
Movement based, anything that knocks you out of a cast. So there's take your pick.
Okay. So you can receive damage while doing mind control and still hold it.
You can, but there is the chance that it breaks.
Okay.
But you can dramatically reduce that chance.
Right.
So, in short, you can take about a half hour and as like a 3-man team, farm all of Mandokir's area with a Shadow Priest. If you're getting those mobs to you properly.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to ask. Murog is the resident priest specialist. I can ask her about it.
I did it.
Kuragama's right. Yeah, if you do take damage, it would reduce your MC a bit. How much time you have left? Okay, I remember that's a thing because it's almost like it's not like spell pushback, but like you have an amount of time remaining because it's channeled.
Yes, but that's literally not a problem.
Oh, right. If you have multiple priests, it's not certainly.
Even as a solo priest, it's not a huge issue. You can pull some shit off.
All right. Just taking a look at what we do have for the changelog. Fixed mobs not being able to blink on inclined terrain. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, good. Look at this. The Windstones. This has been a month in a row.
Oh,
the Windstones
no.
appear. All mobs summoned by Windstone should finally no longer get stuck. Really? Really? I need to get the image out again. Hold on. I should get in trouble for that, making that image, but I don't think anyone even caught it. This is for the changelog. I made this for the video. There's still gonna be. Hopefully they won't be stuck this next reset, everyone. It's like my favorite reoccurring piece. I actually feel for the developers because there's just something cursed about Windstones on this server. Because like as long as I've been here, everyone's like, "Oh, we can't do that. Why?" Well, the Windstones will bug out. I'm like, "Oh," and like remember, I started in like late 2021, so it's part of what makes Turtle WoW, having your Windstones do weird things. I actually saw this one on the bug tracker. Dig Rat will no longer put you in permanent combat. So I think people have been using Dig Rats as a way to get around an AV out of combat debuff you get. Is that... is Aklix still in channel? Is that correct, Aklix?
Yes.
Okay.
What was it?
The Dig Rat will no longer put you in permanent combat. Is that a is that a workaround for AV?
I have no idea how that exactly works.
Huh.
But
I don't.
I
know
believe
why
that
it
is
would be
just an
permanent
AV
combat.
thing that keeps you out of the Anti-AFK.
Added extra landmines on the inside of the Horde base wall in AV to prevent players from jumping over it. Every time I see something about a battleground, I'm just like, cool. It always seems like AV has some sort of like secret, like, jumping puzzle you can do to just obviate everything.
AV,
yeah.
Alterac Valley has a retail problem. And this is true for any private server. This is true for Classic. Once AV hit Wrath back in the day, and people realized you're able to aggressively farm it much more effectively if both of you run to the end and wave at each other as you pass. It was permanently broken. The amount of changes that would have to be made to this point to stop AV from being a rush to the boss kind of situation, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that, but it's nice to see that Turtle is thinking about this and trying to stop some of those, I'm going to say, abused tactics on both factions.
I was just sent a picture from our resident artist.
Fun fact. The last year data just got reanalyzed. It was not actually 12%. It was 15 to 18% of all raw gold on the network.
I wanted to say it sounded conservative, but I actually had no... I only had the raw data of what I've picked up before, so I believe that. That's wild to me. Wow, that much, huh? Okay. Yeah, I mean, if anyone has gone to Dire Mall East for like normal reasons, you're always staggered by how many people are hanging outside, just waiting.
Oh, it's a party.
Yeah, honestly, I've even heard there's been like a boutique market for people selling summons there. That's how crazy it's been getting. Hold on, we're gonna see if this... Okay. This was drawn by our resident artist.
Oh, dang.
That's Dan, myself, and Akalix hanging out the news desk. Thank you for that riddle.
Well done. Well done.
I thought they'd be better than having 3 other separate layers for each person in here. Psychotronic says, every AB or AV that I get into never has enough players, but it says there are many games of each one going on. Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I've made it no mystery that I don't know as much as I probably should about PvP, and every time I hear something about it, I feel like I go cross-eyed.
So, not to stir the controversy pot.
Oh.
But
it's not
I'm
hard.
very good at it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to respond directly to what Koiz is talking about here in chat. The reason people rush AV, Alterac Valley, is because there isn't any incentive to do the side content on Alterac Valley. Turtling is a really bad thing because honor stops coming in, so people start leaving. While that is a completely true statement, yes, that's correct. And I think that's part of the situation with Alterac Valley and the fact that it would take so much shifting in it and changing in it to get people to get out of that mindset of just rush to the end and say screw it. We also have, and this is, again, I think this comes from Wrath in particular. Many of us are trapped in a mindset of, if it's not giving me character progress, I don't want to do it. And again, it's understandable to have that mindset, but also we can do things because they're fun. And sometimes I think it's a heck of a lot of fun to just smash my face against the other faction in AV. So I think there's a lot of reasons why Alterac Valley has a lot of serious problems with it, but I think we're part of that problem. I don't think
Yeah.
the entire issue is on Alterac Valley's end as to why there's issues with it.
I mean, this is something that I've been sort of obsequiously like approaching and talking about every now and then. You'll notice like I end every little thing I have with like a remember to have fun. I mean, it's very easy to lose track of in the fact that like games stop becoming fun for people at some point because their goals stop aligning with what a game is meant to be, which is for amusement. And I'm not denying that competition is a fun thing, but often what happens is, and there's like that famous quote that like given enough time, players will always figure out a metagame to like ruin their own fun. And like it happens a lot, and I can see like the grand vision behind something like AV, but like what it is now is definitely I assume isn't what it was originally designed to be. And even what it was designed to be is, if I'm being perfectly honest, a little bit half-baked. Like,
Oh,
you want a
incredibly
PvP
half-baked.
and a PvE thing? Huh? Like, you know, what is it? So, I mean, like Kurogami said, people in AV get so mad if you actually try to do AV and protect graveyards. I mean, I've been yelled at for doing everything that I thought was correct in Arathi Basin. Like, we don't need you to guard. We need you to, like, strike here. I'm like, okay. Well, what are you doing here? You should be guarding. I'm like, what? I'm just trying to hang out and get some kills. But I mean, I've definitely, I haven't enjoyed, and I've talked about this some before, and I don't want to yuck other people's yums about PvP, but one thing, like, I'll never understand why people enjoy PvP, because in my experience, if you're doing the right thing, the other side will whisper you really mean things or slurs, and if you're doing the wrong thing, your side will whisper you those same things. And the best response I've gotten out of that from a PvPer is like, oh, well, that's a check to make sure you should actually be there. And I'm like, what?
This goes into the conversation I had a month ago where, and this was, I had to tiptoe around this, but I did the best I could, where the vanilla community, not Turtle in particular, this has been true for the vanilla community really since Nostalrius. We in the vanilla community have somewhat of a hate speech problem, and the fact that we are so independent kind of leans into it sometimes. But the fact of the matter is that toxicity and hate speech really runs through a lot of our community. And no one wants to deal with it. No one wants to point it out. No one thinks it's an issue because everyone thinks it's okay. Everyone thinks it's okay. And it's not.
You know, I will say, like, when I've said, like, the best argument, and the reason I say the best argument for people trying to make excuses for that is because if you do, like, PvE content, like, let's say a raid, and if you're not performing well, you could just not be invited back, or you could be kicked out, right? And there doesn't need to be necessarily that level of toxicity, but in a battleground, if you're bad, it is strictly a detriment to the team, and if you leave, you get a debuff, but if you leave like a PvE scenario, nothing bad really happens. So, like, the only, again, this is what I've heard in the past as a good faith argument for being mean to people in PvP, is that, like, well, it's part of the culture, it's part of making sure people that are there are invested. Because if they're willing to sit through all that, then they'll keep playing. And I'm like, that's so head ass. Like you don't understand that, like, to get people interested, you need to be willing to help them, to teach them, and then they might actually enjoy the fun mechanics that happen in PvP. And like, in my experience, like, it's just not there. I'm not saying I can't have fun in PvP. I've done it before. It's okay. But like, I definitely think there is something to be said for people being a little less toxic in PvP, and not just for their sake, but so that people keep doing PvP. Because right now there's just not much of a reward. I mean,
and while
the steel man argument, thank you, Riddle.
I'm not going to point out anyone specific in chat, but a lot of the responses in chat, I think are at least a little bit of a part of the problem, because this isn't something that should be brushed aside or joked about. This is a serious problem that the vanilla and classic WoW communities have had since, again, the inception of Nostalrius, those earlier servers, those very early servers. And no one wants to try to say, hey, what you're saying is harmful. You're hurting people by using the language you're using. And I think it's unfortunate. I think it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of the reasons I have the opinions about PvP that I do is this is way back on Classic. Murag was like dead set. She wanted to try Warlock tanking. She had played a lot of Warlock in the past. She had a max level Warlock, and we were Horde, right? So you don't have concentration aura. So something you need in order to do Warlock tanking is you need to not be interrupted when casting Searing Pain, because that's the high threat modifier spell. And there's one piece of gear that gives that to you, and it's a PvP gear. I think it's like rank 6 or something. The gloves specifically do that. And so she like sat through and did like a PvP grind just to get those gloves. And I'm not even joking, like in our daily interactions, I'm like, huh, you're just kind of a jerk now, huh? And like, I meant that, I you know, like, I try to be a loving husband, but at the same time, I'm like, I was like, you know, I hear you talking about Battlegrounds, and I don't feel like you talk about any other game that way. And she's like, yeah, it's starting to wear down on me. I'm like, oh, maybe
unfortunately, I have to head out, but
okay.
have a good
Alex,
night.
thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate you taking your time to help explain some of this stuff.
Happy to swing by. Have a good night.
Good to see you, buddy.
See ya. Everyone, give a little thanks to Akalix for dropping by, helping to walk us through this. I mean, honestly, that's probably, for PvE news, that's probably the biggest news drop we've gotten since a patch. Just because of how much this is going to affect the raiding community. To a lesser extent, I know PvPers do use consumables, but probably maybe if you're ranking it, I can't honestly say, but they don't use them to the level that many in raiding do.
I mean, it's kind of, I like to use the term required reading for raids.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
if you're the kind of raider who shows up, no consumes, you're just there vibing, like, I appreciate you, but I don't necessarily always want to be in your group.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. And I, to a certain extent, because I'm someone who enjoys running with more casual raiding groups. That's why, like, I've, through progression, Blackwing Guard was a lot more casual. But like, when you get to the harder content, doing that is a little less acceptable because of, like, you do need consumables for certain fights, like, no matter what, just to get the content done. So I think there's sort of a scale. Like, if you're doing Molten Core, like, go ahead, like, eat all the glue you want. No one cares if you have buffs. But, you know, if you're a Nax, it's like, dude, like, you gotta pull your weight. So I think
Imagine
it's something that
trying to
happens.
do AQ40 without nature protection pots.
You mean how people do Huron right now? I mean,
No, fair.
I mean, I'm always curious if that's something that it feels like it obviates the fight almost as much as a unhittable rogue. And since I'm out for vengeance, I feel like everything that obviates a fight should also be destroyed. But that's just me being vindictive.
I can very easily see Turtle increasing the speed in which Huhuran splashes, but reducing its individual damage splash each, just to deal with the fact that they can't just remove the Barov Peasant Collar from the game.
Yeah.
I say that, and yet they tried.
Well, I actually had that in the news too, where I'm like, there were some people panicking, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, one of those people was Dan. Dan was
I
like,
wasn't panicking per se. I was a little panicking.
I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, so just Alliance won't have it? I'm like, no. This is about Arena. And I'm glad they did that for Arena, because that really stunk for Arena. Like, the entire metagame was just pop all your pet trinkets. Okay, now we've dealt with all the casters. Like, it's like, oh, that's fun. Thug Emperor says showing up to AQ40 with no nature protection potions is a vibe. Yes, it is certainly something. Let me finish out this changelog here. See if there's anything else good. Race against time should no longer fail if the objective is completed before the timer runs out. I don't remember what race against time is. Do you remember, Dan? I feel like I should
Not at the top of my head, no.
Race against time. Let's see. Oh, this is Shimmering Flats. Okay, so that's like the pod racing.
One of the few quests I have never done ever.
You haven't done it here?
I've never done it on any server.
Well, I mean, they have a completely different functionality with the racetrack and Shimmering Flats. You can get the Goblin car keys too, which helps mount speed.
Yeah, I know. I never done it.
It's fun. Like, I did it even when it was just janky and broken. There was no good rewards. It was just fun to try out.
So, you're gonna be like, Dan, you're a douchebag. I really hate vehicle mechanics in WoW. Like, I really hate vehicle mechanics.
That's fair.
Like, obviously, a vast majority of people really did not like Trial of the Crusader for Wrath, but I was also one of the people who hated Ulduar.
Yeah, you know what? Think of it, if it helps, just think of it this way. It's a mount. Because that's actually kind of what it is. It's just you.
I mean, sure.
Racing on I think you could wrap your head around that at least. Just racing someone on a mount. And there are little power-ups, and the hitboxes are super glitchy, and you don't even know if you get them. You know, actually, maybe you wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, but it's not something I'm ever gonna do.
So, this change is huge. I literally saw a hardcore die to the cleaner last night. The cleaner will now teleport hardcore players away instead of insta-killing them. I mean, we live in... What kind of soft society is this? What's going on? Do you know, when I had to do Immortal, if I even saw a high-level hunter in an area where I knew there was a demon, I would just leave. I would be petrified of the cleaner. I would think that if I looked in the hunter's general direction the wrong way, the cleaner would come out. I was terrified at the high 50s. Oof.
So I think this specifically has to do with how glitchy it is in the Plague Lands. Because I've seen the cleaner.
Oh, geez, I didn't know it was in the Plague Lands.
So it's for the priest benediction and anathema staff quest.
Oh, right. I was just thinking the Rockdalar quest. You're right. The cleaner does show up for anathema benediction.
And I have been in the Plague Lands. This isn't even when I was on my priest. This has been when I'm on my goblin leveling there. There were 2 times where I was just around one of the ziggurats that was like near the priest area for that quest, and I still got.
Oh, jeez.
Like, there was no reason. I was not trying to interfere. There was no way in heck that I was trying to participate at all, and I still got nabbed by him.
Yeah, that would feel bad as a hardcore to die that way.
Yeah, so I think that's what that has to do with for the most part. Side note, I've had both eyes on my priest for, I'm going to say like 10 months, and I still can't do that quest.
It's actually tough, and I'm not joking. You should actually get in touch with Murag. She is like number one like priest lover. She will tell you.
I had two of the best
quest.
priests on the server helping me at the time. I still couldn't do it.
Really?
I am not built to be a priest healer. I physically cannot function.
I have to say too, specifically those two quests that have the cleaner, I really like those quests for one reason, and that is if you have that item, it demonstrates to everyone that is around you that you have the necessary skill to have gotten that item. Like, if you have Rockdalar, you've probably demonstrated that you know how to kite, and that if you're a priest and you have it, you know how to deal with, like, really hard healing situations.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm not that kind of player. I'm a shadow priest, so I could never get it done.
I mean, Anathema's pretty good.
No, Riddle of Lightning, I did Control V for NPCs. Trust me, I did everything I possibly could. I had someone helping me for over a day.
Maximus,
try to get it
that's
done.
not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a skill issue. I mean, some
No,
people
I
enjoy
agree.
healing.
It is absolutely a skill issue. I know what skills I have and I don't have. I am a damn good shadow priest. I also got the dagger out of BWL about 2 months after I got the eye out of MC. So I'm not hurting in any way.
You know what though? I have the one thing that I know will like trigger Murag about priests is hearing them complain in forums that benediction's too easy, and she's like, ugh, these classic players come in, they just want a bear to sit on the spawn point and do it for them. And I'm like, Murag, it's okay. Like, some people aren't great healers. Righteous Fury is now undispellable. This is paladin stuff. What does this mean?
So Righteous Fury is what allows a paladin to tank. Sorry, my boy. Righteous Fury is what allows a paladin to tank. It generates their threat.
Oh, so this would be a PvE situation then?
Yes.
I wonder what would dispel you. Honestly, there's not too many mobs that do oh, you know what? That would be terrible for Gar. Because Gar dispels everything, right?
Yeah. Over time. Yeah, obviously just keeps hitting you with it. But in my opinion, Conan, get down from there. No. Conan. Down. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. This is something I think Epoch has done really well with, is they made Righteous Fury a stance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking to your pets made me think of my pet, and I realized my cat is in the perfect position. Hold on, let's see if I can get him. Oh wait, I do have it here, don't I? Or maybe I don't. I don't have my camera set up here.
While
Vrograg
is setting up his camera, for those that don't know, I have 2 cats. I have Conan over there, who is normally a good boy, but is hopping up where he ought not right now because I have clean clothes in the closet. And then we have Sonia, who is a younger orange baby girl, who maybe has one brain cell some of the time.
Is that an orange cat?
Yep, she's a rare orange female.
I was just about to ask. I'm like, I thought that question was silly because orange cats are normally male.
About 80% of orange cats are male. Yep.
Hey, Mandalore. Mandalore says hi, everyone. Oh no, he's down for the count.
Oh, Dragonovi, is it a stance now? Because when I checked my paladin like months ago, it's been a while since I logged onto that character. When I checked my paladin months ago, it was still just a buff.
Well, stances are also buffs. And not that I want to get into the weeds. Oh, I forgot to ask Akalix if they got that buff situation fixed. Because I don't think it's in the changelog.
Oh, it's changed to 117.1. That does make sense. Okay.
Hey, Dragonovi, do you know if that was changed? Does anyone know? Oh, the title card for this news episode I just put out was about flasks disappearing. I am noticing that there is no mention of it in the changelog. Should we start panicking?
I'm already panicking.
Okay, so Dragonovi says the commit that broke the buff limit was reverted, so it should be as before last changelog. Okay, but that wasn't noted in the well, is a reversion something for a changelog? I don't quite know the etiquette. I don't know what you call it, but that's good at least.
I believe the term you're searching for is standard operating procedure.
Yes, exactly. And it is a fix. It is a fix that required the least amount of developer time, and for that, I respect the efficiency. Well, I mean, as it was described to me, and I touched on this in the news episode. Essentially, there were like some buffs that. So when you got over your buff cap, buffs would just start becoming invisible, which is fine for like a plurality of buffs. Some of them, like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to see them. They're like last 5 seconds.
I need my underwater breathing and I need to know it's there.
But I mean, like, I understand why some of them were invisible, but I have, you know, I was telling people that like our Nax tank lost 3. He lost 3 flasks. Just lost them. They just got pushed off. And like with what the market has been, that hurts.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money gone. I do
yeah.
So I don't use a Titan flask on my warrior generally because I'm that kind of cheap. What's that?
Because you're not. I would say you're not Nax, because Nax is somewhere where like you kind of need it, because some things are just are literally like, do you have enough health to survive the mechanic?
Yeah, no, he's geared for up to BWL, and that's about it. I don't have the NR gear to do AQ40 on him.
You don't really super need it. But like if you're doing like, well, for instance, like if you are tanking or taking hateful strikes on patchwork, absolutely mandatory.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It still boggles my mind, by the way, that Shock Warden, a Shaman, main tanked patchwork. Couldn't do hateful strikes. You would still die as a Shaman. But like, the damage even as a main tank he puts out is ridiculous. I'm like, Shock, how did you live?
Shaman's got the moves.
Yeah. Well, they dodge. I think they're like, they dodge almost as much as rogues do. No, I mean they're like the second most dodgy, because I think bears don't dodge as much. They have a lot of agility, but I think shamans do more with dodge because they can stack agility much more easily with their gearing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But yeah, I know dodge is a big deal for shamans, and it's also a big deal for bears, because bears don't have block or parry. They just have a gigantic amount of HP and armor.
And to give people context, I don't tank on my warrior. I generally will, if asked, heal on my priest, or if like we need another tank for Gar ads, I'll throw on a shield. I generally will not off tank, even on my warrior. That's a hard limit for me at this point. So there's a reason I don't Titan Flask, because I do all the DPS cooldowns. I have regularly threatened our main tank with going and getting the Blasted Lands buff, because I already rip threat off of him regularly, and I'm not allowed to.
Now, what race is your warrior?
Goblin.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I thought maybe you had another pocket warrior you were talking about.
No. I have my goblin warrior, and then my priest is actually surprisingly a night elf.
Sorry, I just got a message about someone buying the dip on herbs before Akalix made the announcement.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. So, Righteous Fury, okay. It being undispellable makes sense, especially in the face of something like Gar.
That's a real good chain.
Also, this, oh my goodness. Okay, so I always thought there was supposed to be a mailbox there. I could never find it. And I would just move on with my life when I was leveling up. Apparently there was supposed to be one there. Okay, Splinter Tree Outpost. Nice.
So if my memory is correct on this, in Classic WoW did have a mailbox at Splinter Tree Outpost. In Vanilla, I don't think they had one.
Really?
I don't remember there being one back in the fucking day.
That is certainly the exception to the rule, because pretty much any time you have a rested area with a Hearthstone spot, you should have a mailbox. That would be one of the only places I could think of that doesn't have that. Until now. Added a very long cooldown to... What is Scroll of Return? Have you heard of that?
Scroll of Return?
We go into the database. Scroll of Return?
It's not ringing a bell for me.
Teleport you back to Thunder Bluff. That's wildly specific. Where does this come from? I've never heard of this. I want to get this though. On my Tauren. Oh, it's probably like some quest item that, like, if you don't finish it, you can just have it forever. That would be my guess. Does anyone know in chat?
I've never seen that before.
They give you that scroll to come back to... Yeah, so I know, but what quest is it a part of? Is it... Because, like, I don't...
It's part of the quest that sends you to Westfall.
Really?
Oh, it's for the Tauren Druids.
For the Horde Defenders Axe quest line. Oh, wow.
No,
okay.
Never mind.
I had never heard of that. Although an item like this, that being that strong, that's I'm glad it was nerfed, because that's kind of wild to say. Oh, I have another Hearthstone. Although I will say, as a member of the class council, I will say something unpopular.
Uh-oh.
But shamans would like to hear it. Our astral recall should go to somewhere else. That's all. I'm just saying, you have a Hearthstone. Okay, it's on an hour-long cooldown, right? I mean, there are things like wormholes, portals. Astral recall just feels like you have a shorter Hearthstone cooldown. I just wish you could just attune it to somewhere else. That's all. Or maybe it should be just based on, like, your, like, home. Like, if you're a Tauren, you go back to Thunderbluff. If you're a troll or you're an orc, you go back to Orgrimmar. But, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, see,
I'm not going to defend you from the hordes of horde that are going to be coming for you, buddy.
Dragon, it sent you to the twisty nether. Okay, what about this? Okay. Instead of sending you to a city, it sends you back to your starting village. Like, it would either send you to the Valley of Trials, or it would send you to... what's the one for Mulgore? Send you to that place.
It's Red Cloud Mesa.
Wow. That's all I could think of was
Blood on a map.
Oh, you cheater. So yeah, it would be useless, but I'm just saying it just feels weird. Also, Astral Recall, like, the flavor on that from, like, a role-playing game point of view, that is not what Astral Recall is, but that's a whole nother issue.
I'm going to be honest. and this will actually get people with pitchforks and torches coming at me.
Oh, good.
Astral Recall as an ability for shamans makes no sense. Makes zero sense that it exists. I don't know why the original WoW devs, put it in the first place, but at no point in time could shamans ever suddenly transport themselves mystically and magically through the Twisting Nether for any reason whatsoever. There's no basis for the ability.
What if I mean, listen, you've come this far. Are you ready to take the red pill about this? Because I have something to tell you that's going to blow your mind.
Oh, no.
Can you point to one instance before World of Warcraft where a shaman could just turn into a ghost wolf?
Are you testing my memory here?
You're going to be testing it for a while, friend, because they just made that stuff up. You want to talk about what Astral Recall making no sense? Ghost Wolf doesn't either.
Okay. Ghost Wolf, I think, is slightly more spirit and element based. Slightly more. That would be my argument in that case.
I mean, we're talking about the astral plane here. How is that not spiritually related? I mean, if all it has to do is just be related to the spirit, then I guess Astral Recall is just as viable. I'm just saying, why does a shaman turn into a ghost wolf? Like, not all shamans are in the Frost Wolf clan, and even if you are, that doesn't look like a Frost Wolf.
I guess it's dependent upon how you would relate to the original concept of what the spirits were, the quote-unquote spirits were that Thrall mentioned throughout his campaign in Warcraft 3, because I mean the spirit wolves that he could summon was a representation of those spirits. So if I had to make an argument linking spirit wolf form to anything, it would be a reflection of that original interpretation of the spirits. That would be where I put that basis. Now, I do think there is a basis for shamans to be able to spirit walk, if that's what you're going for with Astral Recall.
I will say that is something that I would love to see for shamans, is that if anyone's played a shaman, right, you've probably had to do a quest to get a totem, and a few of them have you drink, I think at least the earth one has you drink a sapta, and
there's
or does the fire one do it too?
Fire and water also do it.
Yeah, and it lets you see something that you can't normally see. And I love that concept for shaman, because that really plays into the lore of them like seeing beyond the veil of reality because they're so attuned to the spiritual world. Like, I like that. But like, not a lot is done with it in the class kit.
Sure. Okay, so I want to make my argument for spirit walking here.
Okay.
This is something that the Tauren shaman in Warcraft 3 could do. They could go spirit form. They couldn't attack, but they could cast spells. They were more vulnerable to magic, but immune to physical damage. Having that kind of ability, having almost, focused on casting and healing versus physical melee or tanking, I think that would be incredibly cool to add in versus Astral Recall.
Are you looking at a stream right now?
Yes.
It's in the game.
No, not Spirit Link, Spirit Walk.
Well, I know, but like, how would you interact with the game if you're spirit walking?
I mean, you could still cast spells. Like the Tauren shaman could still cast spells, spirit walking from Warcraft 3.
I mean that might just be a concession to game design, because
I mean, I'm just saying that there is a solid set of ideas there.
But
that
I mean,
think
the
would work
Tauren
really
didn't
well.
become a wolf when they did that.
No,
they
they
were still
didn't.
a Tauren. So like maybe a shaman just becomes kind of shadowy, gets like kind of a damage resistance debuff, can move a little quicker, and then the second they're hit, they're knocked out of it. I don't know. Again, the utility of Spirit Wolf is the movement speed increase, right? That's why people use it. It's just weird to me that the way to do that is to not only become a wolf, but also become a spirit wolf. It feels odd. out of all
you're
the
not,
things,
you're not wrong that
you literally have the wind as an element. Why can't that just push you to go quicker? No, we have to become a spirit wolf. I'm like, come on, get out of here.
I think there's a better basis for spirit wolf than some other things shamans get.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, flavor-wise, it definitely takes the shaman in the direction I feel is more authentically shaman than I suppose Astral Recall is still a weird one because your knowledge of Astral Recall would probably have to be based in like Dungeons and Dragons, and like the astral plane is like where spirits exist, and you can do astral projection to like travel throughout there. You can go as far as you want. You can use it as a means to teleport and move yourself around, and then you can recall yourself back to your like body, right? But I mean, I did list the things you can say according to Acalix, and I will say that I proposed something that got pitchforks thrown at me. Well, not pitchforks. Everyone's like, that's dumb, that will never work. But I'm like, why doesn't reincarnate just give you a different body? Yeah, everyone's like, how's that going to work?
So someone also mentioned, okay, if, shamans can spirit walk, night elves can get moonwalk. What do you think shadow meld is?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they do have that. Did you ever? I had one of my ideas for a class racial involved shadow meld for night elves. A night elf rogue, specifically only a night elf rogue, would have a type of cheap shot they could only use while in shadow meld. That was like one of my ideas for class racials. I mean, the thing is the likelihood of that happening, pretty unlikely. Anyone who's played rogues knows you usually have to track down the guy you're trying to cheap shot. But you can imagine if they wandered into your range while you're shadow melded. That'd be so cool.
You should get an extra little bonus if you get that. That'd be pretty cool.
It normally gives you 2 combo points. I think if you talent, you have a chance to get 3 though. That might be interesting. But I could see that being used in PvP to some, like if you're in Warsong Gulch, right? And you're guarding the flag, well, you're shadow meld there, just wait for someone to walk over to you. Boom, you get a free cheap shot. It's like, well, okay, now you've ruined it, PvP. Koi's in here. Allow swords on shaman and give windwalk to shamans. Koi's, I know where you stand on the shaman scale. You're a shaman believer, and I respect that.
Samuro was a warrior, not a shaman. Please. Who's
Samuro?
Samuro was the Blade Master back in Warcraft 3.
Oh, okay. I thought the name might sound familiar. Wait, was he that guy that had... What is the tribe? The Shattered Hand. They like cut off their hands and put blades on them?
No, he was Burning Blade. He was part of the Burning Blade.
I'm sorry, what a bad idea. Hey, what's your tribe thing? What do you guys do? Oh, yeah, man, like we like frost wolves. Oh, that's cool. What do you guys do? Oh, we like cut off our hands and just put swords there? I'd be
so
like,
here's the worst part about it, actually. They don't just cut off their hands, because that would be clean and easy. The Shattered Hand was called the Shattered Hand because they took a hammer and shattered the guy's hand who wanted to join the clan, and then he had to cut it off himself. And then he got his blade.
So wait. You weren't born into the clan? You had to be like jumped in?
There was an initiation process, yeah.
Okay. Yes, Koi's. Windwalk is an elemental related spell. But remember, there's people that are taking stuff from shamans all the time. I mean, I feel like levitate should be something that should be more shaman related, but we don't have that. We have water walk, which is also shaman related. So, it's fine. And you know what? Air totem, the air element, does plenty of heavy lifting for shaman. And by heavy lifting, I mean does one trick and does it really, really well. Like really, really well. So well that it necessitates a shaman in every melee group, evidently.
It does. I like the DPS.
Yeah. I'm checking if any of these other ones. Wait, corrupted mind will not prevent using holy shock.
Wait, really?
Corrupted mind, isn't that the thing that Nefarian gives you? Or one of the other.
I don't think it's Nefarian.
Maybe it's Scarum. It's a boss. I've seen it before. Oh, it's Lotheb.
Oh, that makes sense. So wait, you were able to cast Holy Shock?
Oh,
okay.
yeah, Dragon. Yeah, I've heard because we've had a couple Ret Pallies raid with us in the past, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll use Holy Shock off cooldown, and it will help with the tank. So Holy Shock does healing in addition to damage. That's my understanding.
So what you can target people, you can target enemies and you can target allies, and it does healing or damage based on what you're targeting at the time.
Blast the target with holy energy, causing holy damage or healing an ally. Oh, so it's an either or. And because it's an either or, it was just ignored by Lotheb?
I guess.
Dang. I didn't. Okay. Well. Oh no! Oh. I was just starting to learn about spell enhancement.
Oh, rip.
You know what? It was too open of a secret. Anyone who ever tried doing melee DPS as a shaman, it's like the second you mentioned it, another shaman would like take you into like a dark corner and be like, hey, do you know that rank 1 and 2 of Storm Strike don't share a cooldown? That's like the first thing you'd get told. I didn't know that until I started messing around with Obamsawin. I'm like, oh, cool, I got an off-spec cool melee weapon. And then that's what happened. A melee shaman took me into the corner and said, hey, did you know they don't share a cooldown? Well, how do you like that?
How do you appreciate them apples?
It's not... Listen, and you know what? Okay. Obviously, the most heavily affected people here are the melee shamans, and this stinks. But can we think about me for a second, okay? And my elemental shaman, who let me just remind everyone, Storm Strike doesn't just do damage, okay? It's not so simple. Shamans are very complicated. It's Storm Strike.
You could title a 2-hour video called "Shamans Are Complicated," and you wouldn't get halfway through the actual depth of that.
Yeah, I've literally uncategorized. Okay, so look at this. It's not just damage. The next 2 sources of nature damage dealt to the target are increased by 20%. This is my baby Nightfall that I need as an elemental shaman, and you just took away one of them. I'm never gonna catch Abstrax's parse like this. Oh, man. And half the time, a jerk rogue using instant poison steals them, or the enhancement shaman steals them. It's not his; it belongs to me, right? Or actually, Thunder Fury procs can take it too, I think. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't all be good news, right?
It hurts, but if you know anyone on the Class Change Council, maybe you could talk to them about it.
I don't even... hold on. Actually, you brought up something. You reminded me of something. I'm just going to take this. I'm going to go over to the Class Change Council and just post this in the Shaman channel. And all I'm going to say is, it's over.
I think you copied the wrong thing.
It looks like I did, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I believe also anyone using the poison vial.
So
from
yeah, that's true. Specifically, by the way, deadly poison does not remove it, but instant poison does.
Oh, okay. So poison vial wouldn't actually remove it. Okay.
I'm not sure which poison vial effect that would be, but
it's a stacking dot. It's from Karazhan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it wouldn't actually do that. Fair enough.
Yeah, this honestly though, this is one of the only ways that Shaman melee DPS could kind of barely, almost, sort of keep up with other DPS. So that does stink. But I mean, hopefully they make up for it with class changes.
Koi's, if any class is going to get deleted, going to be warlocks. Just saying.
Not paladins?
No, paladins at least have some kind of reason to exist.
Oh, I mean, lore-wise, paladins, yeah. I actually did take, actually, after a discussion with you, Dan, I actually did suggest that to the Warlock Council.
That they just don't exist anymore?
No. I suggested to them that maybe as like a cosmetic or something, they have a way of more conveniently hiding their demon while they're in cities. Because lore-wise, having a little demon dude scampering around, that's literally
kind of a no-no. Demons almost destroyed the whole world.
I know, you wouldn't want them running around a city. You could trade armor scraps, storm crystals, and stormbreak soldier blood to other players inside AV.
I love these changes so much. I love these changes.
What does this mean?
So in Alterac Valley, you have to gather things like armor scraps, storm crystals, blood, and meat for turn-ins that you can do throughout Alterac Valley for buffs and rep and honor and things like that. However, you need a certain amount of each to meet a minimum requirement per turn-in. So for armor scraps, for example, it's 20. You need to turn in 20 armor scraps. And it can take a while to sometimes build up 20 armor scraps if everyone is looting and everyone's trying to get them. So in this situation, you can have designated people who are being traded all of these things, and they go back and turn them in.
So this would be a way to be like, hey, are you still working on rep? Yeah, hey, I got some scraps.
So
here.
that's not how it works actually. So let's say I'm in an Alterac Valley.
Yeah.
I do a turn in for armor scraps. Everyone gets the honor and rep for it.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah.
That way you can send a runner back.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is.
Oh, okay. And because I've done AV enough to know you have the little trinket that will bring you back to base.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you be like, hey guys, I'm gonna hearth back to base. Give me your stuff. Oh, that's great. The default loot method in Battlegrounds is now free for all, so that everyone can loot killed mobs in AV instead of a random person. Yeah, I always thought that was weird. That
this is less of an issue because I'm gonna say like 95% of the time, the person with raid lead in a battleground has enough presence of mind to switch it over.
Oh, Dragonovi with the most recent analysis says this loot thing got reverted due to Korak loot. Who's Korak? Isn't that
Korak is a mini boss that's inside Alterac Valley, and he has some good drops.
Oh.
If you look up Korak, you'll see him.
All right, let's take a look. So that sounds like a horde name.
And no, it's neutral.
Oh, okay. NPCs. Korak. Oh, the Blood Rager. Okay, yeah, this is the troll guy.
Yeah. Oh, you can't see his loot. Dang it.
Oh yeah, I can. It just you have to scroll down. Wow. Okay. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay, I see you. Ooh, a skinning dagger.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I feel you on that one. That's fair.
So that change in particular is not that big of an issue.
I'm sorry, I just read ahead. This one's hilarious. Updated drop rate of Idol of Death to match all the other idols, increasing it from 0.4 to 1%. I thought I was losing my mind. The death ones never seem to drop, and I'm like, nah, it's just a mathematical quirk. You're just imagining that. I needed one for one of my 2.5 sets on Vrograg and on, just Vrograg, but I remember wanting it and having to wait a while for it. That's funny that it was just randomly at a different drop percent. Fixed a Me 01 responding end of escort instead of start position. Okay. We've covered this, the Blasted Lands quest items. I want to know what this means. The Great Banana Conspiracy has been discovered.
What is the Great Banana Conspiracy?
Ivan, I cannot... Wait, I think I can. I think specifically only I can link it, because I think I have
Hold on, let me try.
Are you... Do I have you modded?
Doubtful.
Well, when you post something, let me know and I'll mod you. I should have modded Aclix too, but he has a scroll.
That would have made sense.
Yeah, that would have.
Boom. I can post.
You can?
Yeah, I just did.
Is my chat behind? I've always told people to hit F5, and here I am not pressing F5. Wait, no, it didn't show up.
Oh, it didn't? Let me try again. Did it show there?
No, I see nothing in the YouTube chat.
What about now?
I see that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just being auto blocked.
Let me moderate you.
Oh yeah, do you have it set to top chat or live chat?
Top chat? Oh. I wonder how much I've missed. Every now and then you just tell me something about like streaming or YouTube and I'm like, oh yeah, I just didn't know that. However, I still don't see the links.
All right, I'm going to try one more time now that you have modificated me.
I've moderated you. Yep, that
there we
works. Go. So there you go, Ivan. That is the changelog we've been talking about, and also the big community post from Acalix about the economy. That's the one I just linked there. Both of those are for your viewing perusal.
That's a $5 word right there.
So Thug Emperor says it was a meme about how the banana transmute guy was supposedly pocketing a banana for every... Oh,
that
right.
Son of a bitch.
Because the math on it didn't work out. Like sometimes you're like, wait a second. Because I think the initial quest involves you have to bring him like some amount of bananas, but then later when you do transmutes, it's like one more than what you did during the quest. So you're like, wait a second, this guy demonstrated he only needed this many bananas to do the transmute. How come
Okay,
now
I've got to
it
ask,
takes
is this
more?
a telebeam thing?
No. I mean, have you done the telebeam food quests?
So on my Shadow Priest, I always bought the telebeam food I wanted for spell power. I've never actually done a single quest on telebeam.
Oh, jeez. They're actually really fun. I probably, out of all the new content that Turtle Wow's put out as far as quests, I think Telebeam's my favorite questing area they've put in. Although, to be fair, I haven't tried out the 2 new beginning zones. But I have done Powder Town, Hyjal. I've done some of the other random quests that are scattered all about. I've done Lapidus and Gilligim Isle, but Telebeam's probably my favorite. They're really they're fun.
I don't know why. I don't know why that's happened exactly, but Telebeam is literally the only zone on Turtle I haven't done a quest on. I don't know why. I have no idea why that's the case. I didn't do it on purpose.
I mean, you're missing out, friend. I mean, there's so if I wonder if it'll show here. So if we do a stone scale, right? Stone scale eel, will it show they can be fished in Telebeam? No. Well, you can fish up stone scale eels there. You can get mountain silver sage, dream foil, and the bananas. And because I have the wowauctions.net, if we do ripe Telebeam banana, shout outs to Doga, who I've worked with in the past to make sure the WoW auction actually matches all the new weird stuff they have. So these spawn all the time on the ground, they're worth 29 silver a pop. I mean, that's good money. Especially good money on specifically March 12th at 5 o'clock. It was very good money. Somehow the price went up to 2 gold, 8 silver for a second, and then immediately went back down to 20 gold, 20 silver.
Hey, you know what that probably is? I bet that's someone trying to grab the market.
I mean, the problem with like market manipulation is that it's hard to always prove. Like, you can sometimes demonstrate that it's likely to have happened because you're like, look, supply stays the same, but the price hasn't changed. It's like, well, yeah, but there's also ebbs and flows in how much people want things during certain times of the week. There's also the likelihood that, hey, this is just the price now, so when people go to post new stuff, they just see the new price and leave it at that. But this is, if that's a move to capture the market and make it at a new price, that's a bold one. And I don't think they are going to get away with it very long.
Probably not. Like, it happens a little more than people think.
Oh, yeah.
I think, and most of those times are really experimental, especially on Turtle. Like, on Classic, like on back in the day on retail, especially during TBC and Wrath, it was scary easy how to do it. Classic, it got a little more difficult, and here people are a lot more aware of their money thanks to people like you. So screw you.
I mean,
program.
That's what the education's. I mean, the thing is that I want people to not have to do chores or feel like they're doing chores while they're playing, right? And so the best way to do that is to be aware of how the money works.
And I don't want to have to do chores at all. But I can't play the auction house as much because you're getting people all informed and crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, consider it. I've put the auction house on hard mode, and now it's not like shooting fish in a barrel. Now the fish are swimming and going to like different barrels. You got to shoot 2 different barrels now.
Okay, fine. Okay, I see how it is. Sure. But yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb sometimes. It's real dumb.
It is an easy way to make money if you know what you're doing on the auction house.
And I'm just gonna hand this out because, as AF says, knowledge is power. 10 p.m. Eastern on the server. If you do want to try to poke at the market, 9 to 10 p.m. on the server, after everyone in the EU region has gone to bed or logged off for the night, or most of them, that's the best time to do it. 9 to 10 p.m. on the server. Eastern.
I don't think it... Yeah, I did message Doga about getting Doomshot added to the auction house. I don't think he's added it yet.
Yeah, it's brand new, isn't it?
It's a week or 2 old. Either way, it's
that's
something...
nothing.
I know. Doga does a lot of work. Also, I mean, he... from WoW Auctions... He covers Season of Discovery, Classic Hardcore, Turtle WoW Everlook, all the other classics, Chromicraft, Stormforge, and Ultimo WoW. He covers all of those, so he does a lot of work for people who want to find out what the market's doing. So,
sure.
Max.
One more question for you.
Yep.
Because I'm curious if you're going to be exploring this stuff, but Epoch is starting their last test the first week of April.
Yep.
Are you going to be poking your nose around that?
I mean, I've definitely thought about it. I know there are people who are who I either raid with or I play with who have been saying that they have interest in going there. Obviously, I'm interested in seeing what it's about, but I think probably my biggest reluctance is that I generally don't like going during big rushes. So I would probably want to let it settle down for about a month before poking my head in there. And I followed the same pattern in the past. Like, that's why I joined Turtle WoW when it was like sub 1K, and it's like, oh, I just kind of want like a backwater to explore, see what's going on. But the thing is, we were talking about like those cultural phenomenons where I feel like it seems like the most aggressive, competitive, and sometimes toxic players are also that crowd that thirsts for fresh. And if I can give myself like a little barrier of time between them and I, it's probably for the best. Also, in general, like that's just what I do with products altogether. I mean,
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'm like, okay, cool. You have a new product coming out, great. I'm gonna wait until you fix everything, and then I'm gonna stroll on up because
I broke my rule of not getting like the cutting edge technology because you pay exorbitant amounts of extra for it.
Yeah.
But I got a really good deal with turning in my old phone and got a new phone the other day. So I got one of the new Samsung S24 Ultras.
Yep.
Because I only had to pay like $200 for it.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, so I couldn't say no to that. Normally I don't, but I couldn't say no to that. So what's going on with Epoch? April 5th, they're starting their last week-long test. It's their final test phase.
Okay.
Actual launch is happening towards the beginning of summer. But you're absolutely right that the fresh server now crowd can be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
A good bit. And there is some of that toxicity that I was talking about earlier that really comes across. I will also say, and I mention this on my show regularly whenever I talk about Epoch, Turtle and Epoch, you really cannot compare because Turtle is very kind of strictly vanilla. Very strictly vanilla. It's a vanilla core. It's vanilla talents. It really tries to stick to the concept of vanilla. Epoch is a much more Wrath style vanilla where it's using the Wrath core in and of itself, and it's using TBC plus talents. So it's going to be a very different style of gameplay. In the previous tests, we have seen it's a much more different style of gameplay, but the world has also been mutated dramatically. Where here on Turtle, new stuff has been added, but it has been very kind of dedicated and traditional to the vanilla concept.
Yeah, and it usually
Epoch is growing well out of that.
Yeah, Murag had asked me earlier today about something with Epoch. Now, like I said before, she's a huge Priest fan. She did play some TBC Classic, and I think she started way back on TBC way back when. But in my understanding is that there are more talent points available.
Yes, there are 10 more talent points available. It is, like I said, it is a Wrath and TBC style talent system that they're using with the Wrath core.
So, you do know how busted good Circle of Healing is?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And Priests will be able to get that and other things too?
There are pretty distinct talent changes. It's not just Wrath talents. It's more like TBC and Wrath plus talents.
All right.
But I know what you, having again played a Priest for a good while on here, I know exactly what she's talking about with that.
Yeah. They had to like take it off on Wrath because they're like, nope, too good.
So this last test is going to be a level 60 test where we get to see a little more of the group late game and end game activities. So I'm this test is going to say a lot about what's going on. But again, this is something I really love. This is a world where both Epoch and Turtle can exist at the same time because they're very, and I mean very different products. The adventure concept and exploration concept is going to be a little more excessive on Epoch, but it's also going to be a much more intense experience, which I'm going to be honest is probably going to turn a lot of people off, and that's fine. That's totally okay. We have both products. We have honestly many great vanilla and classic servers that people can take advantage of, and we exist in a world where all this stuff is so cool and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I've talked to Akalix about the sort of the private server community, like on like I guess like the management or ownership end, and there's a surprising amount of like cooperation in that space, because like they are, I guess not specifically uniquely, but like they deal with many of the same issues, and I know from some reports from like Turtle WoW higher ups that like it's not unusual for them to talk to each other about those issues, to actually like borrow from each other as far as like their solutions to certain problems. And so like, you know, that's why like I do genuinely think that like the private server community is doing things by like literally taking ownership back on what like WoW could have been and kind of is in a lot of ways, because it's much more of a democratization of WoW, because like generally if people don't like your product and people don't like what you're doing, people won't participate, you know, whereas like there's like this weird cycle that I see happening all the time with people who play on retail, where it's just like, well, this is what they've limped into the barn with this time. And like people will hate it, know they hate it, talk about how much they hate it, and then play it anyway. And I just feel like there's less of that in the private server community. I think walking away from it, from private servers, is easier to do too. So overall, like I'm very supportive of the private server community and what they've been able to do with like shaping their own unique culture around a game and sort of really taking a different spin on it. Because I mean, there's no secret I'm like super anti-corporatist stuff, you know, so it's like when you can take that money away from those big corporate jackasses' hands, I'm all for it, because all they seem to know how to do is just ruin a good thing.
Yeah. And it's so I was exceptionally critical of Season of Discovery, and while that came off as very negative and maybe that wasn't the best look, I feel very justified in my comments on it, where Season of Discovery was a mistake. Season of Discovery was a mistake and continues to be a mistake. It is a retailification of Classic, which just leans further into the original statement before Classic even came back out of, you think you do, but you don't. It's
been a self-fulfilling prophecy for them.
Yeah.
And it's gross. It's gross to see them do that.
Yeah. And again, I feel bad that so many people felt like personally attacked by what I had to say about Season of Discovery, but at the same time, I have to call a spade when I see it. I see what's going on. I see what Metzen is stepping into. I see exactly what the design philosophy is behind a lot of this stuff, because we saw it with Wrath and Cataclysm. And the fact of the matter is that it was not starting out in a healthy direction and moving in a less healthy one. Like,
and another thing that personally gets under my skin is that like there's just such a because Blizzard makes so much money passively off of RMT operations that it's just okay. It's essentially just okay. And like I am so against that, because it's like you can never fully remove people cheating, doing RMT things, and I think that's just part of the nature of it, but it actually acts as a good bellwether to see how much the team that's working on your server cares about their server based on how much they're fighting back against that kind of stuff, because it devalues players' time. And for that reason alone, it's like, well, clearly Retail WoW just doesn't care about how you spend your time in the game when people can just obviate everything that someone else has done with just swiping a credit card. And if I don't get my dance studio, I will never, ever touch a retail product again. I mean, I've made that clear before. I mean, nothing has upset me more than that. People think I'm joking. I really wanted the dance studio.
A lot of people did. And unfortunately, there's a large chunk of the role-playing, character development, a lot of that greater community that was in for, okay, I want to be this character in this world, that lost a lot of their joy from features that were promised, like Dance Studio, but never got.
And like those ideas they had were things that players really wanted. And not only was it a false bill of sale that like, hey, we're going to do this thing and then never do it, but it's also like, these are things that like your players have like asked for a while. Like, and you even had the audacity to say, yeah, we'll do that. And then just, nope. Look at this graphic I found. Why can't this be real? I'm a simple man. I just want a dance studio. Although, as I understand it, like, animation is, like, some of the most intensive stuff you can do, especially in, like, the older clients. I don't think Turtle WoW's going to give me a dance studio, but if I keep bringing it up, maybe?
You keep hoping. Keep hope alive.
Come on. I just want to have different dances. Although the orc male dance is good. The female Tauren dance is alright. But
I think we all know, and I think everyone in chat will agree with me, the ogre dance is the most superior.
You mean the boomkin dance?
The ogre dance.
Have you ever... Actually, this is from a discussion I had with someone else about... someone's like, oh, well, they should add ogres to Turtle WoW. And I'm like, have you ever seen an ogre try to shoot a bow? And they're like, no, how would you? And I'm like, well, you can put on the Gordok ogre suit as part of the quest in Dire Maul North. Have your hunter do it and tell him to shoot an arrow. They will shoot an arrow out of their stomach. It is disturbing to watch. They would need to add animations for a bunch of stuff that they don't have.
Initially when the rumor came out that the next step for Classic WoW, for vanilla Classic WoW specifically, was not the Burning Crusade upgrade, and it was ogres and high elves that they were going to try and approach. Obviously that was just a rumor that was never true in any way, shape, or form. I was super excited because the fact that ogres were never in the Horde as a faction never made sense to me. At least some of them would have rejoined the Horde once Thrall reformed it. They're natural followers. That's just who they are. So I know it would take some animation work big time, but I would love to see an ogre faction in the Horde.
I mean, a company like Blizzard has the resources to do it too. But, I mean, smaller operations, maybe less so, but that's why, if anyone's listening out there and you have animation experience, just like send like a cover letter or something to Acalex. You might like the Hit Studio is not going to happen without you. Okay, so I need you to get your stuff together.
Make
Dance Studio
together.
Happen. Yeah, like it's not outrageous. Okay, I mean I provide this service to everyone. I use my skills to help the community. Now help me have a dance studio. I would start, if they made it like donation shop stuff, I would be like, Torta, I am now expressly working only for the Turtle team. I only want to be paid in Turtle coins until I have all the dances for every character. Immediately. Listen, everyone has their price, and everyone knows what my price is. It's a dance studio.
What if we at Turtle had a list of official dance studio modders who were all just working on their own ideas for different dances that they could put in the dance studio. How would that make you feel?
I would do everything. I would use all my social capital to try to work in and among their ranks, to try to sway their style of animation to dances that I prefer. And I would support them in every way, shape, and form that I could. The thing is, the people that can just do textures for like old WoW clients is already a small number. I don't know if they can do new animations. I'm literally trying to think of a spot where there's like a new animation. I don't think there is. No. I mean, I've seen animations that don't belong on certain models. No, I don't think I've seen that. No. Yeah, I think it's genuinely something that I think will never happen. But that, I think it was Ernest Hemingway who said, "A man's reach should exceed his grasp." And just because I want something in my heart, I know it won't happen. That's okay. But I can still want it. Forget ogres. We need turtle people and crab people. I mean, there are, you know what? There's more turtle people models out there that they could maybe, we'll say, artfully borrow. There must be, I mean, we don't really need crab people. We already have, what are they called? Maracas? No, maracas is a type of instrument. What are those crab people called?
Makura.
Makura, thank you. Yeah, they have animations. They're in there. I don't think the Makura.
They're not intelligent. They are beasts.
How'd they get magic? I mean, they just have it. I've had Makuras cast Frost Shock on me. Like,
sure.
One of them has to have magic. Although, I mean, Furbolgs are more intelligent, right? So, wait, why are Furbolgs not a playable race?
So, this gets into a long discussion that I need to step out at this point. I'm not able to. However, the concept that you have to have intelligence to use magic, I think, is one that's misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because while I do pose the argument that arcane magic in particular is essentially fancy math, and the better you are at math, the better your magic is. Usually there are exceptions, but otherwise, I need to resurrect my pet. How do I resurrect my pet?
There is a... Oh, did they do the server reset yet?
No.
Okay. Because I need to get my herbalist somewhere where I can immediately check out the veracity of these dynamic herb node spot claims.
I'm curious about that too. But anyway, finish my magic thought. Arcane magic, you definitely need like some level of intelligence for it at a minimum. But
okay.
Elemental and nature magics, those are innate. So, like a treant who has just naturally appeared because of, a druid has summoned them, or because there's an intense amount of nature magic in an area, doesn't really have intelligence at all per se, but it can use nature magic.
Well, I mean, theories of magic aside, I mean, I did even have this discussion recently about how a race becomes like a playable race, and I know it's not like a hard and fast science, right? But part of what I've always considered is that it takes more than just intelligence. You also need to have, like, that race needs to have enough unity and statecraft to, like, be considered their own sort of political power. And then once you have that, I think you can establish them maybe as a race. I think there's obviously some exceptions to the rules on the Horde side, but I think generally that's kind of the bar to entry. And in my own opinion, I think that's kind of what Furbolgs are missing. They're very scattered, sort of like trolls, but they don't have the sort of political cachet to sort of want to take that political power and move it in with another faction. So it's not simply magic.
Okay, we're talking about two different things. Okay.
We are, but that's because obviously you don't need to be smart to do magic. And I only say that because Thrall does magic. Thrall
Wow.
is wise, but he's not smart. And you know how I know this? This is canon lore. Every time I've asked this guy about anything about the Blacktooth clan. Or sorry, the Blacktooth clan.
Blacktooth Grin Clan.
Anytime I ask him about it, he's like, you know what? I don't know about those guys, but I got a buddy standing right over there. Just go ask him. I'm like, Thrall, it's your job to know these things, dude. But you know what? He doesn't have to because he's wise and he knows how to delegate responsibility. So you don't need to be smart to use magic. You just need to be wise at a minimum. And there's a difference. What's the like the Dungeons and Dragons classic stats, strength, dex,
Sure, I know
constitution,
what you're talking about, yeah.
Right? There's that I wonder if I could actually find the graphic for it. I'm actually going to look for this. So
I really do need to step out here, but I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And I do agree. Many forms of magic in the Warcraft universe, you don't need intelligence to use. You need an innate affinity of some kind.
Yes.
In my opinion. Anyway, I need to go. Good to talk to you.
I'll see you, Dan. Thanks for dropping by and hanging out.
I will see you next week after PAX East.
Have
if
fun
I
at PAX
survive.
East. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye now.
I'm sorry, chat. I wasn't trying to ignore you. And hopefully you don't feel like you were ignored. I literally just searched the web for tomato. I had more to that thought. D&D stats explained. Right. So it's right here. D&D stats explained with tomatoes. Strength is being able to crush a tomato. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato. Constitution being able to eat a bad tomato. Intelligence is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. Charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad. That was the only that's the thought I had to get out. So, see, I've been streaming for a minute. I just wanted to cover the news. I thought this announcement would come out a little sooner. And I will say the team was good in having to come out when it did a little early to get people prepped for that. I'm already curious if this is having like an effect on Turtle WoW. Let's just check Plague Bloom. So we're on last week, so this should be pretty cool. Ooh, oh wow. So we'll check. Actually, the price check here might make more sense. So this is Tuesday, right? That's today. This is UTC, right? So it's almost midnight at UTC land. The price hasn't changed a lot. It's gone a little bit down, but not wildly. I mean, this is pretty much high prices over the weekend, so I don't think it's having an effect yet. We'll have to wait to see what happens. But yeah. Murag just got home. I should probably do husband stuff. I appreciate everyone hanging out. asking questions. There's been a lot of questions to ask, if I'm being perfectly honest, about what's been going on, the announcements. Thank you for everyone who also watched the premiere of the news today. I'm gonna get going. Let's see. Okay, yep. All right, so I'll see all of you on the server. Make sure while you're playing any video game, make sure to have fun, be safe, and as always, remember, Murrog's going to drop something in the background. As always, remember, knowledge is the deadliest weapon.